fucking setting it.
Ooh, Revan is playing Last of Us 2.
Yeah, he is. He's playing it. I've been watching him play it. Like, I don't really care to play it, so I'll just watch somebody else.
John,
okay.
Polly, I just want to know, how good is the murder?
The murder's really fucking good.
I'm
is.
kind of in the mood for that, to be honest.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. What I've seen of the game, it really just feels like, hey, it's more The Last of Us 1. I haven't seen anything really weird or awful so far. I'm not saying that it's not there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say the same thing that I told Revan. It's just like, dude, if you want to play it and enjoy it, like, nobody's holding... Like, I know you well enough to know that you're a good person, and I've heard you condemn this kind of shit in the past. It's okay to play problematic things. It's the same way that, like, if I would recommend Steins Gate to somebody, I would say, hey, this thing's got some shit in it that's not so good.
Like everyone did to you immediately after you bought it.
Immediately after I buy it, everybody, like, I get like 5 messages. Hey, there's some weird transphobia in that.
Oh no.
Welcome, Raven. Hey, how's it going? Okay, the NEPA award is off for now. It'll be back on tomorrow night. Don't worry, folks. We'll get that back in. No, people really seem to be enjoying that for some reason.
It's just that I saw a Last of Us 2 video. Mm-hmm. It was just a physics thing. It was Ellie playing with a rope. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, oh.
That's actually really cool.
It's really cool, but it's also, I was just like, oh, right, I forgot you play as a girl in this one.
Yeah.
I'm back in.
Yeah. Like, dude, I'd say if you want to play it, just fucking play it.
I mean, okay. I want to play it. I don't want to pay $60 for it.
Understandable.
So I'll just chill for a few months.
There you go.
I had a little bit of a contrarian thing there for a minute, because it literally was just like everyone turned on it at once on my timeline, which is cool. It's kind of nice.
Like, I understand.
It was that dog article.
Yeah, like, I understand. Oh yeah, the dog article, and like, yeah, there's the way that game's been presented up until release has kind of just been like, yeah, like, there's a lot of shit wrong with this, but you all are gonna fucking buy it anyway. That's sort of the problem here. It's like, you're all going to sit here and bitch about it and write your big articles about why it's bad, but you're still going to be that same reviewer that gives it a 10 in a week.
That's my thing, is that is not my timeline, because this is a bunch of... I don't have any...
Right.
That it's all people who are like, yeah, there's no way I was touching this anyway,
yeah.
But this especially kind of grinds my gears.
Yeah, I'm just watching Revan play through it, and what I've seen of it so far, it's not offended me, but it's just like, oh, it's just more The Last of Us, which I think is a fine video game.
And a lot of people don't, which is fine.
Yeah,
it's just, I think that's probably a big part of it, is just like, hey, I hated this thing to begin with, so...
Yeah, I understand. I'm not going to tell anybody their opinion's wrong. I'm not going to jump on anybody for having an alternate opinion, but I'm also not going to yell at anybody that wants to play it, because the people that I know that would play the video game are good people that I think, they're smart enough to recognize that if they're playing something problematic, they're not going to be the ones sitting there trying to justify it. I have no, that's something that a friend of mine was worried about. He was just like, I don't want my friends to think that, like, I support this just because I've wanted to play this game for like 4 years. And it's like, dude, we know you well enough. It's fine. You'll be good. Like, I know that you are smart enough to know to say, hey, that's problematic. You can have problematic faves.
Didn't some labor stuff come out the other day as well?
Yeah, but that's like that's the entire fucking AAA industry, though. It's not just Naughty Dog.
That's what I was thinking. Is just like, I'm glad people are caring about the labor stuff. That's great.
Yeah.
This is not unusual.
No. Yeah.
It's just weird that this game seems to be getting attacked from every angle, because there's a thread on Reset Era right now that says, Last of Us Part 2 is getting review bombed on Metacritic for minority representation and more. It's just like, oh, cool. So everyone's mad about it for some reason.
Literally everybody's mad about this game.
God,
which is why I just can't muster the strength to be mad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got grouchy a couple times, because I did see a couple things that were just like Xenoblade didn't need crunch to be good. And I'm just like,
how do you know that? How do you know that?
We have no idea what happens in
Japan.
Japan.
We have no idea what happens in Japan, and we know from multiple sources that developers oftentimes sleep under their fucking desks. Don't tell me.
Yeah.
Don't tell me there's no fucking crunch in Xenoblade Chronicles. Don't fucking do it.
But
I heard they absolutely, definitely...
I don't want to feel guilty.
There you go. I like Xenoblade. I don't want to feel guilty. I'm a better person.
Because I'm playing Xenoblade. That's why I'm morally better.
I'm morally better.
I like sincere games, not this edgy stuff.
Oh
no! So it's weird because like I totally get it, and I get definitely get the labor stuff.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of little facets of the discourse that are just kind of irk me. Just like,
I get you.
This game's violent, and that's why it's bad.
That's not why it's bad.
Well, it might be why it's bad when people are traumatizing themselves.
Well,
to make
the thing is, we know for 100% certain that NetherRealm made people watch actual fucking gore videos and people getting murdered and shit. We know that's a thing. We don't 100% know if that is the case with The Last of Us.
Okay.
So, like, I can't throw that stone. I can only say that I've only heard that coming out of NetherRealm.
God, that's really gnarly, huh?
Yeah, like, I can't.
That sucks.
Like,
that's a bridge too far for sure.
That is.
Oof. Yeah, like any time I've gotten like stumbled on actual gore stuff, it just skeeves me completely. Like that is way too much for me.
I've seen things in my day that I just don't like. Man, there was I remember it was like Christmas Eve a couple years ago, and some motherfucker, I guess trying to prove some weird point. They just posted a bloody fucking up close violent shot of somebody who had their head blown off with a shotgun.
Jesus.
And they were doing this to talk about gun violence on Christmas Eve.
Oh God.
And I'm just like, motherfucker, what are you doing?
It's one of those you think you're the hero, but you're turning into the villain.
You're turning into the villain. Yeah, you have looked into the abyss for far too long. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. I never got that.
Yeah,
4chan poisoned.
Yeah. There are some things that I cannot become desensitized to, and I guess I'm glad that I can't.
Yeah. That's where I'm at, and I feel good about that, too.
That makes me morally better! Oh, Lord.
Life is good.
Life is fantastic. Life is fantastic. Welcome, everybody, to episode 119 from your good pals right here at the Sockscast.
119. We've done way too many of these.
Yep. We're gonna don't worry. The series finale is coming sometime. That's what I keep being told. I keep being told we're allowed to quit at some point.
My corporate. They keep paying us. They keep paying us exorbitantly to do this. But
dude, we getting that fat Simpsons money.
We haven't been good for 10 years either.
But we do get like that.
Exactly. Speaking of corporate, we are brought to you, as always, by Moon Pies. Moon Pies. We hate children. Corporate's always just got some shenanigans with those Moon Pies taglines, I tell you. They're changing it. They're still trying to find one that works and one that sticks. That one about the Shantae game last time, it was really topical and on point. I thought they had a good one there. I would slap that on a box for a few weeks and see how it rolls. I think that those Moon Pies...
A few weeks is longer than that game stayed in the public consciousness.
Capitalized on that hot Shantae brand in the mainstream.
Right? Zarella, thank you for the sub. Much appreciated. That was a Tengu Gemini gift. Okay. So, hey, guess what? Some cool things are coming to socksmakepeoplesexy.net this week.
It's true.
Guess what's happening? It has taken us 6 months to get this damn thing together. But I can promise you, the wait has been worth it. 705 video games ranked in order of importance and of actual quality. So, 705, it's garbage. Get it out of here. Why are we even talking about everything that comes before number 1? Why would we do that? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm of course talking about our Games of the Decade list sourced entirely from the opinions, the wonderful and correct opinions of the SocksMakePeopleSexy.net community. It is going to be updated every day on the main site. You can just go to SocksMakePeopleSexy.net and it'll be right there on the front page. We're gonna put each entry up every day about noon or so. Every day is gonna be about 100 games, and that will continue through Saturday. Next Sunday, right here again. We're gonna be meeting right here again so soon, and we do these bi-weekly. But we had to end Game of the Decade in a real special way. We are going to be unveiling the top 99 entries right here, live on the podcast. We got a whole thing set up for it. It's going to be a fun little presentation. It's going to be fantastic. We don't have an exact start time on that, but it'll be on the site throughout the week once we get everything kind of hammered out. So yeah, like Monday through, so starting tomorrow, the 22nd. Tomorrow's the 22nd. I need to learn to date. Tomorrow is the 22nd.
Yeah.
Starting the 22nd, we start hammering out this list day by day, and we get to Saturday, and that'll be the last text list until we get to Sunday.
Wowee!
Where we will have our podcast live for our grand unveiling of the top 99 choices, and then of course after that, once I finish editing up that podcast, the actual text version of the list will go up along with that archive of the podcast as well. So yeah, by this time next week, we're going to be close to knowing what the actual game of the decade is for 2010 to 2019. Get your bets in. Everybody get excited. It's going to be fantastic, and we hope we catch you here for the live unveiling, because that's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot for sure.
It's a lot.
Hold on to your butts.
Exactly. If you got a butt, and if you're listening to this podcast, I don't know how you don't have a butt. I mean, that's how you listen to things. Hold on to it. Hold on to it.
That's so dumb.
It was. I am very dumb. I'll have you know.
I love that.
Ladies and gentlemen, to my immediate virtual right, till he gets his shit in this motherfucker, he won't never die. It's Rhett.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
I'm excited.
You're excited? What are you excited about?
Well, Game of the Decade and just this episode of the podcast.
Oh, you're excited for this episode in particular?
I got some bangers.
You got some good, because I ain't got shit.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I maybe got a thing or two. I think the other one.
We have the long,
ongoing
segment.
One of them, Rhett might have forbade me from talking about on my own podcast because I'm not allowed, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see. You're ready for a podcast, though. That's good. That's good.
I was up very late this morning finishing a game.
Oh yeah. You were, weren't you? To my immediate virtual left, he could kill off some bears and dogs and shit just to make you a fur coat. It's John Thayer.
Hi.
Hey. How you doing,
Is that
bud?
the voice of somebody that could easily kill bears and dogs for a fur coat?
You sound like it. Yeah, like when
it's the cold sociopathy that you're hearing.
It's when the first time I ever heard you talk was like, oh, this motherfucker kills animals. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Guys,
you know things are really fun because they're.
It feels so good to be able to
this
laugh.
isn't one of those, but just thinking about that.
It feels so good to be able to laugh because I have not been able to do that for like 2 weeks.
I know, it's nice.
Geez.
But I can laugh now, and it doesn't hurt.
Aww.
Oh, you're almost done.
I'm almost. The worst of it is almost over.
Almost. The worst of it isn't quite over.
The worst of it isn't quite over. Hopefully that'll be cleared Tuesday.
So wait, were you injuring yourself on those Higurashi streams laughing?
I was preventing myself from laughing.
Oh my god.
Like, that's why, like, I was just like, don't laugh, because I was literally trying to keep it in.
Oh my god, that's rough.
Because I laughed once, and it was a very ouch experience. Yeah. Don't laugh after surgery, folks, especially if it was very close to the abdominal wall. That's gonna fucking hurt.
Oh.
We gotta save those clips and just know here are the bits where Polly suffered.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of those clips are still there. Like, I even clipped one of the miserable manhood line literally sent me over the edge. My miserable manhood twitched a little bit. It's such a good line, and it hit out of nowhere. Man, Higurashi is good, but we can't talk about it because Rhett forbade it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And whatever Rhett says, we do.
Yeah, because it's his podcast, so we're not allowed to talk. We're not allowed to talk about Higurashi. So we won't be talking about Higurashi this episode, even though both me and John played it.
Oh no, I'll definitely.
Because Rhett forbade it.
Last week, last episode, you were like, well, we're probably not going to check on any Higurashi every time. But now John has went and read the first 2 arcs, so obviously.
Right.
And then Rhett was like, well, we're going to keep this up, so you're probably not going to check in on this every week.
Right.
I was like, well.
Right.
You can't tell me what to do. You're not my mom.
There you go.
So for the next episode, I'll have read the first 3 arcs.
There you go.
Perfect.
That's how we even this out.
Did you ever read them, Rhett?
No, he didn't read them.
This is weird for me.
You want Rhett to read. That's
jealous.
funny. That's funny. You want Rhett to read. This boy is only watching anime, okay?
I've read visual novels.
The only reading he's doing is if it is a doujin and there is anime titty in it.
Why the fuck do I read those? You just look at the pictures.
You don't even read you get like extra invested because of the story,
Yeah, Rhett. Come on.
It's nice.
You get real into it.
Okay.
Real into it.
Sometimes the first third or so is fine. When they get to the sex, it's very cringy, universally.
Well, maybe you're reading bad doujins, Rhett. Maybe you need to read some better doujins. That's all I'm saying.
Fill me up, raccoon.
Not that place, it's so dirty.
This is a good podcast.
Oh, no!
Oh, you're just like a baby sucking on my nipples. Doujin dialogue is terrible, I'm saying it.
It's universally terrible.
It's so bad.
We should have a live reading sometime.
Oh my god.
We should just read some live.
We have to find something and we each pick characters to be.
We gotta do this now. It's too fucking dumb to
Whoops, I just fucked up.
Yep. We gotta do it now.
Wowee!
Oh, Rhett, thanks for this.
Figured that would be timed well.
There's definitely a wowie kind of moment. Speaking of wowie, John Thayer.
Yeah?
Hey, you want to talk about things for a podcast?
Yeah, always. I love talking about my own interests and myself.
Okay, well,
so
let's hear it.
I played a game.
You played a video game?
And it is a game that includes characters that you all know and love.
I like characters that I know and love.
Including Ren Ryugu and Mion Sonozaki.
I know those characters.
Do you like those characters?
I like them a lot. I especially like Mion, I've come to find out.
I can't believe this turn.
Holly,
you were at the Rena stand for decades.
Dude. There's a warmth and loveliness and a playfulness that Mion has in the visual novels that is on another level.
Visual novels? What are y'all talking about? I'm talking about the shooting game, Renegame.
Renegame is really good.
Damn it! I tried to post in the chat, but I haven't set up my computer with it yet. So I played 2 games by Toby Alden.
Mm-hmm.
The first is Renegame.
I played Renegame. This game is fun.
It's an extremely cute, excellent shitpost game.
It is a great shitpost game.
Oh my god. It is 9 boss fights. You play as, I think, Layla from Layla for the NES.
Yeah.
And she has a little shield. And you jump around and you hold the fire button and you just shoot a bullet every frame.
Yep.
And then but it there's just a little bit more effort into it than you think starting it off, which is my favorite kind of shitpost game.
Yeah, because the bullet patterns and stuff actually are really impressive and shit.
Yes, and it gets it gets kind of sophisticated. It gets cool.
Yeah.
There's a couple extra moments outside of just the bosses that are cute and well done and add to the good shitpost vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it. And I thought, I shared it with everybody I knew. Hey, you have to play Renegame.
Yes.
Obviously the best game starring Ren Ryugu.
Yeah.
And then I was like, can't get any better than this. What could be better than Renegade?
I think we've reached peak Rena. If you are playing,
reached peak Rena.
Yeah.
So what's better than peak Rena? And then I played their game, Family Mansion.
Family Mansion is cool.
I really like this one. It's like, instead of it being a shitpost game, it is like just a earnest, small, short story game, but with boss fights.
And they're really good.
And they're really good boss fights.
That game is super crunchy.
It's crunchy. It feels good. It's similar, but it's similar to Renegade, like with the bullet patterns, but it's top down.
Yeah.
And the writing is just completely hilarious.
Yes.
You star as a blood sorceress, I think. There's vampire tinges, but it's like left deliberately ambiguous.
Yeah.
And you are coming back home to fulfill the prophecy where you must kill all your mom and all her sisters and your grandfather, as the blood sorceress must do when she comes of age.
This makes total sense. I mean, this is just the normal rules of how things go.
This is just It's just common blood sorcery.
Yeah, like everybody, you learn this going through blood sorcery school.
Mm-hmm. So you just go around and there are cool bosses. There's good dialogue, and you can poke around the house a little bit. It's like a 15-minute game. It won't take long, but it really it fits a full story there.
Yeah,
and that's like something I struggle to. It's one of my favorite kind of formats is that 15-minute game that feels full like that. And there aren't really a lot of them.
Expanse has a nice 15-minute. Like, I think that's a good 15-minute.
I mean, there are a lot of them. It's just hard it's really hard to find them because it's that sort of sense of narrative completion.
It's hard to wrap a story in 15 minutes.
Yeah, and yes, of course, all of my games. I have a bunch of games that do it great, but I'm talking about from other people.
Yeah, like other people aren't the literal genius that you are.
I know, so it's hard, much harder,
right?
For them to bring these kind of things to life. And Family Mansion just nailed that. It's one of my favorite games in that format I've played. I think. So I beat the hard difficulty, which lowers your number of lives and heals, and then I'm working on the nightmare difficulty, which is which leaves the lives and heals the same, but it changes the bullet patterns up.
Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try hard. I finished it on normal, so. Or whatever.
I think it's so far it holds up.
Yeah, it's like that's a really again like a cute little free game like this, and like man, y'all could seriously charge me like $4 or $5, and I'd pay for this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I played like just a ton. I just like had a day that I just gave over to chewing through itch games. Mm-hmm. Probably my favorite. I played Plague Station 2, which I didn't process. Which I did not process.
Didn't get the pun there.
The title until I figured it out later, but I had a good time with it. Yeah. I figured it out later. I'm stumbling over my words because I'm Googling it, so I can post it in the chat.
Gotcha.
It was made in a week, which is insane. It feels very big for that. It doesn't quite feel. There's a little bit of parts of it that feel jammy, like the climax is a little rushed, I think. Mm-hmm. But it still feels good to play and still does a couple cool things narratively and ends satisfyingly enough. I had a good time with that. So, like, I think when I see a game that's this pretty, as I just posted in the chat, is Plague Station 2 by Robin Field, I worry, like, oh, this isn't going to have any meat to it, especially for a jam game. But the thing is that it's pretty tough. There's a lot of demanding action stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's at least one very cute and well done narrative idea that I liked a lot. So that's one I recommend too. Mm-hmm. And then lastly was Quad Death : Core Meltdown EX. And this one is very wild because I started playing it and spent like about 10 to 15 minutes just not getting it at all. Like, it just felt completely inscrutable. Like, what is this weird 3D art thing, basically?
Right.
Which happens, It's like, oh, okay, this is kind of beyond my ken. But then I just kind of stuck with it through that time. Mm-hmm. And then I just kind of realized, oh, this is just a speedrun this is a linear speedrun platformer.
Oh, yeah, it just kind of seems like speedrun bait.
Mm-hmm. In a very good way.
Yeah.
it kind of channels scrap brain final egg energy. You're just an egg. You're the quad face who is trying to avert a nuclear disaster by navigating the nuclear plant.
Oh.
And you have a super jump you get by charging up lightning in electrified water. And then otherwise you can also wall jump. And the wall jump is like very generous. So like if there's a tube going up, you can kind of wall jump just around the side of the tube in a 3D game, which feels really cool.
That definitely seems interesting.
Yeah. Like there's a sort of deliberate jank to it because you don't have any camera controls. It's just rolling around and trying to figure it out. But like once I started digging into it in earnest, I was like, oh shit, this is kind of meaty. I started thinking about like Umihara Kawase, where there's just sort of it feels like there's no upper limit to how good you can get at the movement.
Oh yeah.
And I think this is sort of captures some of that, where I just like I can imagine just fucking blazing through this game, and I think it'd be really satisfying. So I actually have been working at the higher difficulties, which just tighten up your you have a very generous timer for the main game, and a generous health bar, and then the higher difficulties just make that tighter and tighter and tighter.
Oh, cool.
So the highest difficulty is like a 7-minute timer instead of an 18-minute timer, and then the dev like read the chat told me afterwards, yeah, I've beaten it in 6.5 minutes. I was like, oh yeah,
okay.
That's tight.
That's snug.
But there's 5 difficulties, so it just keeps going up and up.
Yeah.
If you have a difficulty that's nuclear annihilation, I think that makes sense.
That's a good difficulty name. Like I thought, like Infinity Inferno and East 8 was a pretty good difficulty name, but that's pretty rad too.
And also, just on top of everything, there's some funny writing in it. This is maybe my favorite of this batch. I had a really good time kind of learning this movement. I think there's a couple spots where the difficulty kind of hikes up a little bit, and there's a couple spots where the lack of camera control can be frustrating, and I can imagine that getting under folks' skin. But for me, it was just sort of an additional facet of the challenge, I guess.
Right. Somebody else on my timeline was talking about this game this week. I don't know who it was. I saw you talking about this game and somebody else.
That's pretty wild.
Also, John.
I am the one comment on its itch page right now, so that would be a little weird.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw
that.
To be positive, it's a really cool thing. This is the same person that made Video Pulp, which was a very good political cartoon game, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So yeah, I loved this. And yeah, I've got a couple other things, but for now, cool. Holly,
yo,
what have you been up to?
Hey, well, one of them I can't talk about because Rhett forbade it. So, since he runs the podcast,
well, I think John should probably lead that.
Yeah, John should lead that one because he actually finished it. So I actually only did one thing. So I get an easy.
Oh my
episode.
God!
I get an easy episode, and we're letting Rhett off easy this time.
Oh, I'm gonna get off right now.
Oh, good. This is the sole reason.
You seemed less horny for it than you did last time because you weren't. Is your edge for 2 weeks instead of a year?
Yeah, you got edged pretty hard. When you've been edging for a year, man, that eventual release is going to be. Can you imagine edging for 2 weeks? Man, imagine that. Imagine how intense that might have to be.
What could force you to do that for 2 weeks?
Yeah, like why would you ever choose to voluntarily edge yourself for 2 weeks? 15 days, in fact, because it is
a little bit more than 2 weeks.
It is 1 day later than you had anticipated. And then you looked at the calendar and got very angry. Almost unreasonably so.
At least you go back to work tomorrow.
At least I go back to work tomorrow, which is good. I'm very excited about this.
My God, you had the longest quarantine out of anybody I know.
3 months.
By far, and you hated it the most, whereas I would have been fucking pig and shit happy.
Pig and shit happy?
It took me a second.
I like that. So, continuing from the last episode, we closed out on a pretty big one that Rhett was very happy about. And I decided, you know what, we're gonna continue. We're gonna pick up the pieces and we're gonna continue on with that Symphogear thing that Rhett likes. So I watched Symphogear G, which is the second season, but I can't talk about it because I need 3 months to write 330,000 words about it. So you'll just have to find out in August or September what I thought about it, Rhett.
God, you know what I just realized? So when we did Game of the Decade, Fresno had watched G the first time.
Oh, wow.
So, like, for the entire length of your quarantine, basically.
Holy shit!
It was, like, 3 months ago.
God, that's funny.
That's hilarious. So Symphogear G is...
Tell us what Symphogear is, like, in case people haven't heard it from the previous...
Symphogear is an anime.
The previous 8 episodes.
Symphogear is an anime about magical girls with cool battle suits that sing and punch things. I think that's a good. I think that is a good summary of what that series is.
That is an accurate description.
Yeah.
Well, like, can I ask you something right off the bat?
Sure.
So this has been the burning question I've had the whole time, and it's not really any spoiler stuff. I just want to know, and John will understand where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Probably.
What was your impression of the character Maria after, like, the first episode?
Why is she here?
Oh, wait. As of episode 1?
I mean, in episode 1, like, I thought it was just going to be kind of like the Dark Samus kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was kind of like she didn't make an impression on me at all.
Okay.
I literally don't care about Maria.
Okay, I've got bad news for you, Polly. You are not a lesbian.
What?
Because I've read many Symphogear watch threads. And universally, I see girls go nuts for Maria after, like, immediately.
Why?
Like,
what is
oh my god, I
what
love her.
She's
so pretty. I want her boobs in my mouth. Oh, there's Tsubasa's new top. Just people fucking go nuts for her, and I don't understand.
She just left like, I thought that, like, okay, it's cool, we're gonna do the Dark Samus thing, which I guess we just never did, because she just kind of does fuck all the entire series, but
I am.
Okay.
I never really got that from her, though. Like, I mean, it's an attractive design, sure. I wouldn't say no if that's what you're asking, but
I just see people go nuts for her immediately.
Really, yeah, like I didn't have that impression going in.
Okay,
honestly.
I was just curious.
Yeah,
I mean, Polly's pan. That doesn't necessarily disprove.
It doesn't disprove it.
It doesn't disprove the theory.
It doesn't disprove the theory. It's just I guess she's just not on my radar. But okay. So the second season of Symphogear G, this one basically hits the ground running. They throw you into the meat of a main plot.
The first episode's good.
Yeah, it's real good. A lot of good. Like, they know how to throw you into this. I like, and it's really smart that they didn't start on a slow one. I think like they needed to hit the ground running, and it felt really good. So they kind of like, and it's cool because they're taking a hold of a plot thread from the way the first season ended, and kind of like, oh, we gotta like deal with the repercussions of this now. Like it might seem like a big far off thing, but it's like, oh no, this is actually a big problem, and we need to be paying attention to it. Kind of like the whole coronavirus pandemic.
Symphogear foretold it.
And Symphogear is, and like the way the world and everyone in charge in Symphogear handle it is basically the same way that we're handling it, as in, like, okay, like only the rich and elite knew about what's going on here, and they're too busy shitting they're too busy shitting their pants to know what they want to do about it.
It's really funny that I do not remember what you're talking about at all.
Yeah, like the moon.
I don't remember. I watched this 3 months ago.
The moon is falling.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They did a permanent damage to the moon, like in the Tick. There's a really good consistent joke they did in the Tick that is fantastic that they ran with the entire series run, and it's sort of like that. Chairface Chippendale tried to carve his name into the moon, and he only got like CHA, and that remains in the engraved on the moon the entire series. It's really good. Joke. It's a really good joke. But yeah, like this kind of like hits the show. The show kind of primarily introduces 3 new characters. You got Maria, of course. She's there. She's
there.
She says "mom" a lot.
I don't care about Maria.
Shirabe and Kurika are good. They're good additions. I like them.
Okay,
they're very
good.
They're good characters. They do, and like. Even if I don't like Maria, I think they still give her like a good backstory. Like you come out of that story knowing who that character is and why she is the way she is. And it's just like with Shirabe and Karika, like you get good introduction
drama
stuff. Yeah, like you get good, like why they're doing the things that they're doing, why they believe what they believe, and like there's like good central conflict there when they come into contact with the main cast from with Tsubasa, Hibiki, and Chris. Like when those finally collide and you start seeing the differences and like the different sides of the conflict. It's like, oh, okay, cool. And like in each of those characters, the new characters, they obviously bring their own cool new gear to the action scenes and stuff. And that's like one of like the cool parts about a show like this, or like My Hime or My Hutome or Madoka is like when a new character gets introduced that is going to be in the action scenes. Like, ooh, what's she gonna do? And then like they unleash all of their cool new tech, and it's like like these characters have like really fun, cool battle animations and abilities and stuff, and it makes them really cool to watch them just kind of light up the screen when they get the chance to. So that stuff's fun.
Yeah.
Something else I noticed was that it feels like they're subtly working with the singing stuff more. They're trying to make it more contextual in a way, because there were a lot of times where I noticed that the vocals were actually mixed higher than the music, so it sounded like you were kind of up in their face and they were singing a bit. So like those scenes came off a little less. They're still fucking hokey. But
yeah,
it came off less hokey. But a thing that I really liked that they would do is like when there was a lyric tied like to that character doing an animation for an attack, they would overdub that vocal with her screaming the line instead of the sung vocal playing.
And
like,
yes,
so they do that more.
Oh yes,
do that
that's
more.
Interesting.
This season had the first song that actually made me be like, oh, that's badass.
Yes.
Oh, I want to listen through that. I would have to want to watch that scene again.
Yeah, we all know which one that is for John, his favorite character.
Continue, Polly.
But yeah, like I like that. Like like the music stuff still comes off a bit hokey to me, unfortunately. But again, it doesn't detract.
It's J-pop,
and that, like I said, that whole idea of like even just dubbing in them screaming the line of the lyrics, that felt good in the moment. Like that made it work for me. Like. And that's something that's really hard to get to work for me, since I just don't like that part of the show. So that was really cool.
I actually didn't know they started doing that this early. I thought they really start doing that a lot more with
fantastic.
Season 4.
Like I'm 100% here for that. Then that's great. There's like this is like where there's not a lot of downtime this season either. This is
it really just kind of goes.
Yeah, this is a season that really hits the ground, and it's just like shoving its plot all up in your face the entire time. But that also means I think there's less time for those soft moments you get from the first series, where like it's kind of just kids being kids, and like I think that like allowing those characters to be more than just kind of like battle bots. Like I kind of like those moments where characters get to breathe. And you get to explore those relationships or just see them play out. So I kind of missed that a little bit from the first series, actually. Even if it wasn't a lot, I think that those soft, tender moments kind of made like the balance work a little better in season 1. So
agreed.
So like I like that the plot is ever present and the story's kind of always moving and evolving, but there's kind of like I got a big problem with what's going on with this show's narrative, and it's not that the narrative is bad. I think the narrative is maybe just a bit mediocre, honestly. But it's. I feel that characters should be pushing a narrative along. I think that's what should be happening if you're telling a good story. I think most of the time, most good stories are caused by characters being the ones to take agency and push a story forward. And I feel that what's happening with Symphogear G is that the narrative is used to push the characters along. So rather than the plot existing because of the characters' actions, the plot's details are already set in stone, and it's going to push these characters wherever they need to go, no matter how much sense it makes, no matter how unnatural it feels, to where the plot needs to be. And that just hits me as bad writing. That
definitely hit me when I rewatched it, especially Kirika and Maria.
Yeah.
It's just...
they're where the plot needs them to be for certain things to happen exactly as they need to happen. And their ideals and their rationales change like the wind.
Yeah. I think those last few episodes and like the Chris stuff as well, it's like the writers were just like, we want these specific fights to happen. We're gonna make it happen no matter how. Yeah. Like it feels very like, I really want this moment. We really want to animate it. We're gonna make it happen. So I ran into a lot of issues with this show with characterizations and their motivations. They're sloppy, they're inconsistent, and in some cases they're not even apparent. This show is bad at getting character motivations and rationale across. Like Chris once again gets the fucking shaft. She gets the short end of the fucking stick, in which she has like this really big moment late in the season, and it's barely alluded to as to why it's happening. Like,
it's really rough.
I had to, before I went into the last 2 episodes, I literally had to get off of my PS4, go and DM Rhett, what did I miss? What is going on here? Why did this happen? I don't get the motivation here. And he's like, oh, well, it's something that happened 2 years before the first season that's off screen.
Yeah.
And I was mad. I was...
Because it's not like there's not a narrative device called a flashback where they could infer that information to the audience.
Yeah, they really needed... Like, I like the motivation. It's just... It's not in the show, so it feels like it doesn't count. Like, it's a... Again, this is another instance of Chris having a really good story to tell, and they just throw it away. She is a character who has been shafted twice now in the good story, because she had a good story in the first one and they squandered it. She had a very good reason for her actions and her attitude throughout this entire fucking season, because she didn't make sense most of it, and they didn't... all you needed was one scene. You only needed one scene to get it across.
I know, right?
And they just never did. And that... Another thing that bothered me is the show is super vague and weird about Hibiki's past. Even though it's a major conflict in the show, and like with one of the other major characters questioning like her want to save everybody mentality, it stems from her past and like the very things that molded her mindset, but it's something that should feel more concrete. But all we get is just this weird flashbacks that last maybe 20 seconds, and then I guess that's it.
No, and there's this whole thing you have to read on the Symphogear website that I sent you guys.
Yeah, I know. I get that. I read that. I know. But if I'm taking this show as what it is and what it's showing me, Hibiki makes no sense here. Like Chris makes absolutely no sense. Like why she takes the actions she does. Even lamenting it, like they spend this entire season with her kind of just being in a really weird mental headspace, and you don't know why. They had 10 episodes prior to the big thing that happens to give us one scene and explain why. That's all they had to do. Yeah. And they just didn't. So
it felt like I was more frustrated with the writing in this one than I was in season 1.
Yes, I was very frustrated with almost all of the writing because it just felt like, again, there was a plot that we want to write, and it doesn't matter if the characters fit this plot or not. We're going to just go ahead and shove them in and make it work anyway. Despite all that, you can't call Symphogear bad. Because it is...
Well, John certainly can. He came out of this saying, I hate Symphogear, like, definitively.
Continue, Polly.
I think that despite the fact that this is a show that, especially this season, where I feel that it is a 26-episode show trying to stuff itself into 13 episodes, so the scope of what it's trying to do is way too big. Like, this story needed scaled back a lot to work. Yeah. Despite all that, the last 2 episodes of this show, fucking credible.
Yes.
They're out there.
That was the tiniest red squeak.
You just squeaked out the cutest yes we've ever had on this pod. I need somebody to clip that.
Well, because it's like when Polly was talking about season 1 last time, and like saying, "Oh, I really want more character backstory stuff," and reasons behind their actions. And me and John are both sitting here like, "Oh fuck," because Simple Gear G is the antithesis of that.
Oh yeah,
as a show where punch first, explain why later.
Yeah, that's a lot of what happens in this show, and sometimes we don't even explain why later.
They introduce an idea that's also in Fate Stay Night, and they do the thing that they never do in any of the Fate media.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the last episode.
Oh, the crazy stuff.
The real crazy shit.
The really fun, like this show. This show's climax goes off the rails in a way that had me grinning ear to ear, because it was just like, okay, you guys are trying. You are really throwing it out there, and I'm fucking here for you.
Thank you, Sam. For clipping it.
There you go. Cool. There we go. But like, I was at least satisfied enough with the conclusion. That like, I'm not gonna trash this one either. I think that the writing is bad. Man, like this has to be like I swear that if I look at reviews of Symphogear seasons, this has to be really near the bottom.
This was the highest rated one until the 5th season.
Not by you necessarily, but by like the fans. I
think. Like by me as well.
That's true. By initially.
Oh no!
I did not realize how dumb this one was until I rewatched it.
Yeah, like this one, like, I mean, at the very least, like, I think that I've watched enough of this show to know now that like I'm invested now. I'll keep watching. Like, I don't see, like, there's nothing here that's bad enough that's making me say, oh god, I never want to see any more of this. Like, I'm absolutely going to watch season 3, 4, and 5 now. Like, I think I'm kind of bought.
Oh boy,
I think I'm
committed.
I think I'm bought in enough, because even if I think that the writing isn't doing them enough justice, I still think the characters are good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, except Tsubasa. She's literally the most boring person to ever exist.
Thank you.
Man, when a thing happened and I was like, oh man, I hope they stick to that. I hope that they don't pull back on that.
You could be talking about so much stuff in this show right
End
now.
of episode 10.
End of episode 10, when a thing happens, bang bang. I was like, oh, yes.
And this is my favorite part of this whole series. It's so dumb. She's in the next scene in the next episode, just standing there.
Shot. And what would be if this was just pieced together without credits? She would literally be in the next shot perfectly fine, but she has a bandage on her head.
They show her being fine and then explain why.
Yeah.
Like, it's exactly what I said, where it's like, do a cool cliffhanger, then explain it after the fact.
Yeah. They got like they got a good climax out of her and Chris, though. I think that was good. That was a good moment.
Yeah.
But like I said, like, I think that the writing is just not doing these characters justice, and I really wish the character writing would pick up, because, like, you got the action down, you can do that. I know you can do that. Please focus on these characters a little more, because I think they deserve it. They're really good, except Tsubasa. She's trash.
Wait, who's worse, Tsubasa or Maria?
Tsubasa.
Oh, wow.
Shit.
I would take Maria over. I would take Maria over Tsubasa, because I would fuck Maria.
Okay.
There you go.
I think. Okay.
Tsubasa, you turn up your nose at, she'd be like, "Hey, wanna fucking?" Be like, "You're really boring.
You're really bored. You are probably a literal dead fish in bed."
Okay, can I do my small defense of the show?
Absolutely.
I think what impressed me about Simple Gear G the first time I wrote it was obviously not the character writing, because the character writing is bad.
Yeah.
But it was how the action writing would just they would consistently put themselves in a corner and then find a way out.
Yeah, like, that's really cool.
Like, specifically, like, the attack that Kirika has that will slice your soul in half.
That's really good.
The way they pay that off
is perfect.
Insane.
It's so good. Like, and it's something that makes 100% sense because they set it up a season earlier.
Yeah, you're right. They set that up way early.
I was like, when I saw what happened, and you were probably thinking I'd be like, that's bullshit. I was like, oh my god, that's so good, because you didn't notice the context clue that I noticed.
Yeah.
There is a cool context clue that happens near that scene. I'm like, oh, I know what they're gonna do. This is so good. That's a real good fucking moment to get out of something where it's just like,
yeah.
How do you come back from that? Oh, that's really good.
So they write these impossible scenarios and find a way out. So like in one way the writing delivers.
Like in one way the writing actually completely freaking works. And this show still gives me that feeling of like a late 90s, early 2000s anime where it's just like, I think that kind of writing is just emblematic of that time. So I still appreciate it. I still appreciate it on that level.
This season is just dumb cliffhanger after dumb cliffhanger. Oh no, the roof of the building they're on exploded. Oh no, she's got a gun and she shot Tsubasa.
Oh no, her body is breaking apart from the inside out. We resolved that. Okay, now we're on to oh no, her arm. Okay, resolve that next scene.
Yeah, they just keep resolving these things
immediately.
Yeah,
John hates that. I thought it was very funny.
See, I thought it was funny. Like I was like as soon as when she got her arm ripped off, I was laughing because I knew that there was no way you're committing to this. There's no way you're gonna at least have an episode where she doesn't fucking have an arm.
I think it seems like Brett connected with the aesthetic level completely immediately.
Yeah.
And it seems like you've connected really strongly with the aesthetic level to the point where even while the narrative stuff has bothered you, the feel of it resonates so much that it lets you kind of look past that.
I think that's what it is. To me, it's more of just a feeling I get when I watch this show sometimes, where it's not like it's not necessarily what's happening or the characters, which. Like, when this show has really good highs, it has really fucking good highs, don't get me wrong, but a lot of it is just like, man, this kind of just puts me in a place where I remember watching things like this. Like, it threw me back to when me and Rhett watched My Hime together for the first time or something. Like, that's, like, a moment that I hold really dear. Like, it meant a lot, so, like, it kind of...
Yeah, and I don't have those touchstones.
Yeah, like, to not have that touchstone, I can understand how it kind of, like, this kind of comes off really flat.
I kind of checked out after the mind control character fight, because I was like, this was a moment that I would have been like really jazzed about, and I kept thinking like, boy, I wish the writing earned this.
Yeah.
And then I was just kind of sitting grumbly, not
like,
happy for the last 3 episodes. Like, just like, no, this does nothing for me.
Like the whole mind control thing was a scene where it's just like, man, I really wanted so much more from that moment. Like, I wanted so much more dramatics. I wanted so much more anguish. But this is not the show that I'm going to get that from, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just another thing that is introduced and resolved in one episode.
Yeah, that's just so weird. That is a one thing, like, and it's pretty big when it happens, and there's no lasting repercussions. Like, it's just like, oh, that happened.
That was my one song that I liked.
That's a good song. Yeah,
it's really funny that I watched that and then a little bit after played Tales of Vesperia, because they both have absolutely stakesless, nothing mind-controlled character fights.
Yeah.
If you introduce mind control and then you make one beloved character fight another beloved character, it doesn't count. You don't get credit for it.
No, it doesn't work. No, you can make that work with like some agony and some actual harm being caused, but they don't want to do that to these characters. It's very clear.
No.
This show has a brighter worldview than that, I think. Whereas
what I noticed about
Go ahead.
What I noticed about Symphogear is that, I mean, I'm trying to not immediately talk spoilers, but it's like Kanade dies like in the first episode immediately.
Yeah.
And then in this season, Serena, Maria's sister, is like dead before you meet her.
Yeah.
Like, they're not gonna kill characters that you're attached to.
No, like I think I've kind of already come to that point where that like no harm is going to come to any of these.
Because we got merchandise and CDs.
We
to
have
sell.
merchandise and CDs. These characters sing. You better goddamn believe we are releasing singles.
The whole way Serena is introduced, like with her death scene, is just a funny echo of season 1.
Yeah. It's really yeah.
That was the scene with the eye blood, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
John
like
texted
that.
me when you started it. Someone is bleeding from the eyes, as Symphogear tends to
As
go.
Symphogear, yeah.
Serena is voiced.
Who is she voiced by?
She's voiced by Yui Horii, who does
Oh,
Nepgear.
right, Nepgear, of course.
Which, of course, perfect.
Yeah. But yeah. I'm maybe not as be on the Symphogear train right now as hard as Rhett, but this is definitely
No. See, it is impossible for you to get on as hard as I am.
Yeah,
So
it probably is. But I guess I kind of think of it as comfort food. Like, it's just kind of like, it feels good to watch. Like, I watch it, I don't feel like I wasted my time, even if like the writing is kind of making me mad. I think
this is the worst season for character motivations.
That's good.
Because like you can say that like the Hibiki and Chris stuff is confusing and explained outside of the show.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like Maria and Kirika. I actually can't even begin to explain their actions in the last few episodes.
They do what they have to because the plot dictates it, and that's unfortunate. Because I like Kirika a lot. I like her design. I think she's rad, but like there's nothing to her.
To explain her character, you have to just go, she's a dumbass.
She's a dumbass, yeah.
She's a dumbass and tried to kill the person she loves.
And death.
Yes.
Death. She says death a lot. It's really cool. So yeah, Symphogear's rad. I'm cool with it. Rhett!
Oh my god.
Hey!
It's my turn now.
Hey! He's already spent. Boy's already spent. We spent too long talking about. I can't bring up Symphogear too early in a podcast now because Boy will be spent already.
I thought that was kind of like how we're just going to end every episode from now on. So I played Wonderful 101.
Okay.
I talked about that last time on the podcast.
Yeah, you did. We had some weird issues with the
camera
with
and
the camera,
combat.
and the combat.
I thought the camera was fine, but
okay. You also stopped playing this game.
I'm gonna get back to it. I wanted to read Higurashi.
As you start like 12-itch games, and some other games.
I got through those quickly. It doesn't count. If I finish them in one day, it doesn't count.
Itch games don't count. They're not AAA. Don't worry about it, Red.
There's a AAA game you started and finished a couple days ago.
No, it was a AAA game I finished and played in one day, so it doesn't count as.
And then there's the 8 visual novel series that you started.
Yes, but that's Higurashi, and that doesn't count because it's Higurashi. That obviously takes priority over anything.
I swear there might have been something else.
There's another VN I'm working on that I started before Wonderful 101, so that doesn't count.
But what I'm saying is there have been a lot of.
And I did start Sonic and the Secret Rings.
That's the one.
I think
that counts.
Multiple Sonic games in the way of. Anyways,
I think Beepner,
continue it.
I think Beepner in chat purposefully had a phone call because we were talking about anime.
Continue.
I mean, I can understand the audience getting a little frustrated.
Maybe.
Talk at this point, but I live for it, so fuck it. It's our podcast.
Giant Bomb
folks live with it.
Giant Bomb people would talk about one game for a year. Who gives a shit?
So it's time for our weekly Call of Duty check-in.
Oh, good. Need to do that.
Okay, so now it's time for my weekly Wonderful 101 check.
Week number 2.
Second and final weekly Wonderful 101 check-in.
So I finished this last night. It took me the full 2 weeks to actually finish it. Because I was not feeling super motivated.
Oh, really?
Because just the pace of that game is just...
It's very slow.
Those missions are very long.
Yep, they're chunky.
So, should I just say how many missions there actually are?
Yeah.
I think I know, but go ahead.
There's 9.
Oh, I thought there were 6. Oh, no.
So basically, it's a 3-act structure. There's the first 3, then the second 3, and then, like, you'll see when it plays. Like, the story really hits a moment at the end of 6, and it's like, okay, you're clearly going into the final act, and I'm like, is this final act going to be another 3 missions? And then I look, and it is. And I'm like, okay, 9 is definitely the end, and then there's an epilogue. It's a pretty long game. I think they really could have increased the pace a bit, and just there's some filler moments, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my main problem with that game is that the enemies, a lot of them are like, use this weapon on this enemy.
Yep.
And it never really changes that up that much.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes especially noticeable in like mission 7 and 8, where it's just like you're not mixing up enemies in interesting ways. You're just spawning like 2 of the enemy you use the whip on, and then 1 of the enemy you use the hammer on, and like you never really fight crowds in that game. Like you actually fight the most crowds at the very start, which I thought was kind of weird.
That's
Like the very start of the game is like the real kind of small foot soldier enemies mixed in with a few bigger ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the entire rest of the game feels like 1 or 2 really big enemies, and that's it. And like very, very little like mixing up of enemy types.
right.
And that just, it gets a little road when it's just like, okay, I have solved this, and because I'm fighting 1 enemy at a time a lot of the times. It's just like, I've solved this. I know on this enemy, I throw the bomb at it, and then I do this, and then I throw it, and it does half damage, and then I just repeat that.
Right.
It's just like, there's a funny thing in the epilogue, it does like the whole playable credits thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in the playable credits is like 2 turtle enemies and 2 dragons, and I'm just like, oh, you can do 4 enemies on screen at once. You just chose not to until it didn't matter. Like, what the hell? I was just really confused by that. Because in the game, you would only ever fight 2 of those by themselves.
Yeah.
Like
Weird.
2 turtles or 2 dragons. Never a turtle and a dragon, or 2 at once. I was like, wow, this is crazy. What's going on? So I think the main gameplay where you're doing the whole Wonderline stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it just remained pretty flat for me, unfortunately. There are, however, a lot of big set-piece moments.
Oh, yeah. As you
As
do
well
in a
as
platinum
just-
game.
As you do in a Platinum game that is very clearly an incredible passion project for Kamiya, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I feel his soul in this game in a way I do not in other games.
He loves Sentai so much that that is why this game exists.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, like, that carries a lot of it. It's just, you know, he loved making this and, like, putting as much crazy shit as he could into
Yeah.
it. So I really like the big set-piece moments. I really like, there's a whole bunch of, like, alternate control moments where it's like, oh, now it's a top-down shooter. Now it's a rail shooter. Now it's Punch-Out.
Cute.
Like, there's a whole bunch of, like, crazy moments. There might be, like, 5 or 6 of them of, like, just totally different control scheme stuff. And it's just like, oh, now we're doing this, huh? Now, like, there's one boss that, like, chases you from behind up a volcano. And, like, so you're just navigating the ship as, like, kind of, like, Crash Bandicoot running from the boulder or something. There's just tons of cool moments like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I start to think, like, because of those moments, like, boy, I wish I liked this game more, though. Like,
Right.
it's just not quite connecting with me. Because Mission 8, you know, it's starting to get pretty crazy up in here.
Right.
And then, you know, we're barreling towards the climax. So last night at about 3 a.m., I'm at the start of the last mission, and I'm like, I really just want to finish this. I'm having a pretty good time now as this game gets crazier and crazier. Let's just finish this off. The last mission of this game goes harder than basically anything else I've ever seen.
Oh, no.
It goes harder and longer. Because you know how every mission in this is like 3 chunks with saves in between?
Mm-hmm.
So this final mission took me almost like 3 hours.
Oh, my God.
And it is going 11 out of 10 intensity the entire time. The entire time I'm just grinning from ear to ear thinking, how the fuck are they going to top this? And then they top it. And then I go, how the fuck do they top that? And then they top it. It is just absolute lunacy.
Just escalation overload.
Yeah, it's so much and it's too much. It's like, and like, I really start to like the overall visual style, starting with like Mission 8, where it's like, it's very colorful cosmic stuff. It's really, really gorgeous. And the entire last mission is just
all of that?
A fucking barrage of that for hours. It is so much.
That's awesome.
You see, I wonder, because this is a Kamiya thing. I wonder if the harder difficulties kind of shake up the enemy loadouts more.
the thing I've always heard about this, I have heard that the real game starts with the second playthrough, and I'm just like, so
it's like 20
it's a very long game, and the story kind of doesn't really do a whole lot till the last act. But man, this finale though was so ridiculous. And the problem is, a lot of like why I was able to have a good time with it is because it wasn't doing the Wonderline stuff. It was just like, oh, now we're a rail shooter, now we're this, now we're top-down shooter. It's just like,
I'm good with that.
When it started packing in the variety. See, like, the funny thing is I've heard people the opposite, where it's just like, oh no, the game's a shooter again. Fuck this, I hate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like, if I'm already not on board with the actual
with the Wonderline stuff,
then it's fine.
Yeah.
Especially because I was playing it on normal, and if I died, I just hit continue.
There you go.
This game could almost completely fall apart because it's so weightless, because the boss HP does not reset when you continue. Everything just goes, you just get a free health up.
It's literally it's trying to do the arcade style thing, and that's how I tried to play it at first. I was like, oh, I better replay this mission. And then I had a sense of, oh, if I do this, I am going to not finish this game.
Yeah, because the missions are just way too long to replay like a 20-minute section if you die.
Yeah.
Especially because there's a lot of bosses where I just literally won't know what they want me to do and just die, and then until I figure it out, it's like, well, I'm not going to replay the whole mission just to be like, oh, you have to use the whip at the specific moment. So the thing I mentioned earlier about...
Yeah, you told me last time that the you have to draw the shapes bigger, and it makes it bigger, and I realized that's why like the whip enemy was taking me 5 minutes to kill, because tiny whip.
There's an upgrade you can get later on that is like, you draw the shape, but then keep the A button held down, and it'll just make a bigger one.
Nice.
Cool. So that's a little useful. I got an ability that's like, you draw the shape, but then press Y, the top button on the controller, and it'll make the shape and make the weapon, but it'll be AI controlled, so you can keep doing what you're doing. So you can have multiple weapons out at the same time. It gets wild.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, I'll be the bomb, and like, draw a circle, press Y, and the fist will come out and start punching, and then I just throw another bomb, the bomb is time slowdown for some reason.
Weird.
So like, I'll keep throwing bombs, and then keep drawing shapes like the circle and the sword to keep having DPS come out, and it's a lot. And especially in that fight against the prince, who's got his own 100 soldiers and is also drawing shapes. This game just does reach a level at some point where it's just like actually incomprehensible to people watching it unless you're playing.
Yeah, because, like you've got to know the game at some point.
Because especially when it's like you and the enemy are just drawing shapes on each other to throw out weapons. And especially when you're not necessarily controlling that giant red fist over there, you're over there like just dodging. Mm-hmm. It's so wild. It's like being able to throw out like multiple weapons at once is really neat.
Cool.
So I mentioned earlier how like the finale, or just the whole game, is like Kamiya just getting to do like, basically this is like a however many $1 million they spent on it version of Hunters.
Yeah. I can see.
Because
that's actually like a very good compliment.
So nice.
Because he's just clearly wearing his influences like on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, okay, there's two.
Like you say.
That's the saying, on your shoulder. I wear my heart on my shoulder all the time, Red. It's fine. Yeah. Continue.
There's just two huge references towards the end that are just so not subtle. Like in the rail shooter part towards the end, the first mini boss comes out and it's like a kind of segmented dragon thing.
Yep.
And then the second one comes out and it's a big face with a bunch of smaller faces rotating around it. And then the third one comes out and it's like it's three big mechas. They shoot at you and then they kind of dash at you. And I'm just going, wow, you're just literally making Space Harrier now, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's not subtle at all. It's just the first three bosses from Space Harrier.
Yeah.
Like, he's just making these games that influenced him, like, when he was younger.
Yeah, like, that's really cool. Like, you always
and it's amazing.
Get that. You get that
it's
from his work anyway. It's just that he is just a child enjoying himself.
But this was, like, the least subtle I've ever seen one of those. I just had to laugh at how, like, in your face it was, if you catch the reference.
Yeah.
Because then at the end, there's an even more direct reference to Star Fox 64.
Oh, wow.
Which I believe he has said is one of his favorite games ever.
Yeah.
And like, there's the whole like, you literally play as Star Fox in Bayonetta if you have that outfit.
Yep.
You have the R-wing for the shooter section at the end. But yeah, now I'm like, oh, actually, this is the crazier game than Bayonetta 2 because of this last mission.
Yeah, it does.
Like, I'll just say the words Gurren Lagann, and you probably don't know what I mean by that.
I had a good feel. Yeah.
It just fucking goes. John, you have to finish this game.
Oh, there was no doubt about it.
This is not the turnaround I expected.
Oh,
yes. I decided to be quiet. I was so fucking exhausted this morning, though. Because it's literally 6 a.m. and I'm just like, okay, game. Oh, there's one more boss. Okay. Oh, there's more.
Just a little more.
It just keeps going, and then I hit the epilogue and was actually like a little grumpy, like, okay, come on. And then I hit the playable credits, and I was just like, I'm just not going to play these. I'm just going to put the controller down and watch it beat me up.
Yeah.
It sounds like the opposite of my AAA action game experience.
Well, because it's weird because the gameplay was still kind of weightless, but it fucking did as much as it could and finally won me over, like, aesthetically.
And with the Kamiya thing, I have faith that if I wanted to play it solidly, that I could, and it would be rewarding. Where I don't
about hard mode now.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, it's so much.
Again, this is not the
turnaround
not the turnaround I expected at all.
Cool.
Basically, my rule was like, anytime something crazy happens, hit the screenshot button. I took like 70 screenshots.
Nice.
It's
awesome.
So much. It's so pretty.
That's awesome.
Just colors.
I'm gonna cry my eyes out of this. I think.
Cool.
I think it's gonna get me. Because I like cried at Gurren Lagann. Like, of course.
I think we all did. That show's ending fucking goes.
Yeah. So I have somehow I think I would give the thumbs up to this.
That's awesome.
There's that whole little animation where he has the thumb down and turns it up.
Yeah.
Diplomacy has failed.
I heard you talk about this, and it's just it's so cool to have heard this turn around the way it did. I'm so happy.
Me too. Because I was dreading it a little bit because I knew it was going to be 20 hours, but then now you're telling me, and I'm like, oh yeah,
the payoff is worth it.
It gets there.
Yeah.
It is weird though, is because missions in 7 and 8 are they're kind of straight gauntlets of enemies and repeated repeated enemy types, and I was just like, game, you're kind of getting there story wise, but you're still not there gameplay wise. And then mission 9 is just like, oh, fuck it, we fucking did it, we got there,
did it, go us.
Cool.
That's fantastic.
So that's
it's
a strange
since
game.
It was normal mode that frustrated you. That definitely makes me wonder, because they play around a lot in Devil May Cry where they completely change up all the enemies for the later difficulty modes.
They do that in Bayonetta too, where
I assume they do it for Bayonetta.
You fight certain enemies earlier, or the enemy combinations are different to complement each other in more insidious ways.
Mm-hmm.
You missed the Symphogear talk, Zenatoto. Sorry.
Oh.
So
I think they could have been a little more direct with the variety in a couple places towards the end of this game, because it just once you've got every weapon type, you've also seen every enemy type until the very end. Gosh. So there's 2 missions of just okay, we're kind of just doing this for a bit.
I'm gonna play this game, Rad. It's gonna be really fun. It's probably gonna be more fun than Sonic.
So I guess we're gonna take a.
We're gonna take ourselves a healthy 5-minute break. So we will be right back for the second half of the show. Everybody get up, stretch your dick out a bit, get you some water. There you go. There you go. Just let it all out. There you go. And we'll be right back.
Dum dee dum dee dee dum dee dum doo dum doo dum dee dee da 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 dee dum dee doo doo dee 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 doo doo dee doo. All together now. Dum dee dee dum dee dum doo. dum do dum dum dee da 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 dee dum dee do do dee do do dee do. All together now. Dum dee dum dee dee dum dee dum do dum do dum dum dee da 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 dee dum dee do do dee do do dee do. All together now. Dum dee dum dee dum dee dum do dum do dum dee da 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 dee dum dee do do dee do do dee do. All together now. Dum dee dum dee dum dee dum do dum do dum dee da 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 dee dum dee do do dee do do dee do. All together now. Dum dee dum dee dum dee dum do dum do dum dee da 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 dee dum dee do do dee do do dee do. All together now. Dum dee dum dee dum dee dum do dum do dum dee da 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 dee dum dee do do dee do do dee do. All together now. Dum dee dum dee dum dee dum do dum do dum dee da 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 dee dum dee do do dee do do dee do. All together now. Dum dee dum dee dum dee dum do dum do dum dee da 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 dee dum dee do do dee do do dee do. All together now. Dum dee dum dee dum dee dum do dum do dum dee da 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 dee dum dee do do dee do do dee do. All together now. Dum dee dum dee dum dee dum do dum do dum dee da 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 dee dum dee do do dee do do dee do. All together now. Dum dee dum dee dum dee dum do.
Hello.
Hey,
Dum do dum dee
people are enjoying the dulcet tones of Mr. Pants.
Mr. Pants.
da da da.
It's a throwback.
Did Nate say they specifically joined to miss the Symphogear talk on purpose?
Yep.
Nice.
That's what it sounded like to me. Got bad news for everybody going forward. There's gonna be more. Like how Rhett's like, you can't talk about Higurashi, but I'm gonna talk about Symphogear 3 more times for the podcast. That'll be good.
My God, what is this? You can't talk about Higurashi meme. John is about to talk about Higurashi. It's fine.
Just the way you mentioned it yesterday was really funny to me because it sounded like, well, no, don't do that.
I thought I must be misremembering because I thought it was you who was like, I'm not going to actually bring this up every week because that would be a little repetitive.
Dude, I don't remember. I had surgery. I have no
Neither
idea.
of us. Oh, right.
Like, I fucking remember I don't really remember much of the Sunday beforehand.
Oh, right. It was the day before.
Yeah, it was like right before. Cool.
So is today's Father's Day? I'm dumb. It must be right.
I don't know. I stopped paying attention to that day for a specific reason, Rhett.
I cannot hear you.
Who can I? Oh, no. John, you lost us? How do you fucking lose us in the middle?
Skype connection yet?
Oh, good. Fantastic. I love it. I love it when this happens.
Don't turn on the webcam, for everybody's sakes.
Oh, God, no. Don't do that. Hello?
Alright, I can hear you now. Can you say something again?
Yeah?
Hello?
Yeah?
It's going through my speaker, even though I have
headphones
in.
Oh, God.
I got this.
I had an issue like that a while back, and it's like the settings in Windows 10 for sound are universally fucking terrible. Oh, this happened to beep there the last time. Nice.
I love Skype.
We all do.
Skype is so good. I'll try something.
Whoa!
Oh, boy.
So, let's see. Speakers. You can change the speakers in audio and video. You can change those. I don't know why I'm talking to. Okay. Got it?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I love tech difficulties. It's during the intermission. It doesn't count.
Yeah. I especially love Skype.
Put on some pants, John. Good day to flip off your dad and break his TV. John is your daddy now. Polly is our mom, and Rhett is our little bro.
What?
Thank you, Raven.
Rhett, you're not watching chat, are you?
I am now.
Oh,
What are you doing?
Aw, June played PlayStation 2. I'm glad you had a good time.
Nice. Cool.
That's what the 5-minute breaks are for, to play the games John talks about.
To play the itch games everybody talks about. Yeah.
You could.
John!
Hi!
Hey!
Fuck Sonic Forces!
Oh no! Oh no!
Fuck Sonic Forces!
But,
man!
But Rhett,
hey John,
this game.
Oh boy! What?
John,
Rhett?
do you want to know something very funny that just happened?
What?
And it's just proof that we run in totally different circles.
Yeah.
One of the people I follow, because they're like obsessed with Sympho Gear, just casually mentioned that they 100%ed Sonic Forces like 5 minutes ago.
Fuck Sonic Forces!
I can't. He's saying that he loves Sonic Forces, right? Is
Yeah,
that
that's what it
hearing?
sounds like to me.
I'm saying, fuck Sonic Forces.
Oh,
You want to fuck it?
You want to
love
get
it that
intimate with
much?
it?
It's fuck, marry, kill, and Sonic Forces is getting fucked.
Damn!
He's getting killed.
It's getting...
But so you know when you get a bad game, and you play it and it gets stuck in your craw, and you just think about it all day, how much you fucking hate it.
Oh god, this has definitely happened to me. Hi, Indivisible. What's up?
Yeah, that didn't happen this time. I haven't thought about this game. No, that's a bad thing, Red. I haven't thought about this game at all day. I just vomited out all of my hate for a half hour after playing it, and then it left my brain forever.
Oh, that's good.
I might as well have never fucking played it. Because you know what? When a bad game gets stuck in my craw, it develops into a relationship of sort that I kind of value. Like, I feel a certain kinship with Suikoden.
I knew that's the one you were going to go to.
With Suikoden. Or Sympho Gear, for that matter, at this point. I feel a connection that is, like, that I value. It's a friend of me, or kind of a hate love, kind of thing.
Yeah.
A black romance. That's probably not the best term, but that's the Homestuck term. It's maybe bad actually.
Yeah.
Spades romance. That's the word.
There we go.
Spades romance in Homestuck. So I don't have that with Sonic Forces. I played all of it yesterday, start to finish.
Was it yesterday? God. It feels like more than one day ago.
Like, everybody I know that has played that game has done it almost in one day. I think Red is the only one I know that maybe took longer. But
I think it was like 2 days at most.
Yeah, everybody
I know. It's really short.
Everybody I know, they streamed it and they did it in one take. So
it's really not very long.
No, it's terribly short.
And that's not the worst thing in the world.
No, that's probably a good thing, it sounds like.
I think the worst issue with a lot of modern Sonic games, and modern going back to like even Sonic Adventure 2, is that they put absolutely awful gameplay portions in to slow it down so it's not super short.
Yep.
Like the Werehog stuff is like
maybe
kind of
2.5 hours. June is about how long it was. I think it was about 2.5 hours for me.
Really? I have 5 hours played on Steam for some reason.
Okay, yeah, it was breezy. It was less than 3 hours for sure. So the idea of rail shooter pacing Sonic. That's a good thing. That's a great idea.
That's a smart thing to try and balance a game around, yeah.
Yeah, like Star Fox 64 is like a half hour long. That game's fucking great.
Exactly.
That is a wonderful premise, and it's especially a great premise for Sonic. And I know it's a great premise because I specifically remember saying, in like 8 years ago or something, like after playing Generations, like I really like that. I think my ideal, like my dream Sonic game would just be like 1 hour rail shooter with like a strong story propelling it from beat to beat. And that's Sonic Forces. It's a short rail shooter game. It's just Sonic levels.
It's kind of just Sonic levels.
It's basically just Sonic levels. They all feel basically the same. With little cuts, with very short, tersely written cutscenes to communicate the next dramatic beat, and it just goes along like that until you get to the big climax. And it has a big climax with a 3-stage final boss fight. So this should be the dream, right?
This sounds entirely up your alley, John.
And it has a story that takes itself pretty seriously, and it has like a power of friendship theming.
So seriously.
Like I came away from Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, like I really enjoyed those. I kind of miss when Sonic, tried with the stories, I like the Saturday morning cartoon. Like, I remember y'all saying, finally, they're just doing a nice Saturday morning cartoon thing and not worrying about selling these big emotional beats. And I'm just like, I like the big emotional beats. I really like Sonic Adventure. I really like Sonic Adventure 2.
See, I thought Sonic Colors was specifically when they stopped trying about the story, because, like, Sonic Colors is the first real Saturday morning one, and it was the follow-up to Sonic 2006, which was the most taking itself seriously one.
Yeah, exactly. So this is trying that. It has a serious story. Eggman wins and takes over the world at the start. And then the whole game, you have
Sonic has been captured and is being tortured.
He's being tortured! It's so good! It's so good!
And
isn't it for like 6 months? Don't they torture him for 6 months?
6 months.
I think the line might be different in Japanese, but I think in English it is 6 months or something.
That's so ridiculous.
And you play as the Freedom Fighters trying to protect. Like, it's the old Sonic Sat AM thing. Like,
but it's really not. I know that they're going for that, but it's like.
Well, we'll build to that, right? But like, that is what they are going for.
Yeah.
Like, or it's the structure is Sonic Sat AM story, short rail shooter, pacing, punchy game. That should be the dream, man.
It should be that. You're right. The elements here are all conceptually fine,
and it is just completely weightless. Nothing lands. They don't explore any of it. It feels like an outline of a video game.
Everything I played about this felt so prototypey to me. Like, it didn't feel like a final game.
It doesn't. It feels like and then Eggman took over the world, and the last vestiges of the Freedom Fighters are fighting to protect without Sonic at their side, and that is one black screen text box.
Ooh.
And then it jumps in like a year, like 6 months later. That you never see Eggman like taking over the world. You never see any of that. About a third of the levels take place in either a Green Hill variant or a Chemical Plant variant.
Oh God!
Yeah, that part's real bad.
Oh God! That's
The first
misery.
2 levels are a Green Hill variant and a Chemical Plant variant, and I was like, well, at least they're doing for like a decayed Chemical Plant. That's kind of cool. And then they just have a normal Chemical Plant later.
Yep, they just do it normally later.
Just playing it straight. Every level is like 2 minutes long.
Yeah, they're so
If even.
tiny. They're so tiny.
They're so stop-start, and then you like stop. Oh, okay. Don't get too much into the.
Don't you go having too much fun.
Yeah, and then
now you've unlocked 5 more avatar pieces.
God, and then they do like 20 seconds of unlocking avatar pieces afterwards. I play it on hard, and they have a rank system, and I still S-ranked most levels. It's like, why would you have a rank system where you can get S ranks when you die multiple times?
Like
2-minute level.
Even Generations doesn't let you have the S if you die.
Exactly. Yeah. And Generations has like 5-minute levels.
Yeah.
Which is great, which feels great. That's all I want. That's all I need. So the levels, they never... That's what makes it feel like an outline. There's a part where Sonic is thrown into an interdimensional prison along with the player avatar. Then they have one 10-second sequence where you're running on cubes spawning in space, and then you escape. And there's a different cutscene. You do a double boost. That's it. But there's no level.
Oh, wow.
When it feels like there should be. How did Sonic escape from time prison? He escaped from time prison in 10 seconds. He did not have to break every bone in his body over and over again.
Oh my God.
I mean, is that the escape at like the very end?
No, it's like in the middle.
Because there's the escape at the very start where you fight like one boss and then you fight Zavik, I think.
Yeah, and then there's like several levels on the Death Egg. There's one cool level where you're running around outside the Death Egg, and it's pretty. Boy, this game looks expensive. Like, the parts that are there look really... Like, they had to put a lot of time into them. They really put that to good use.
I wonder... Because in chat, Juneflower says they think this was made in 11 months, which I guess that's... I don't know if that's true or not, because I also said yesterday, like, I think they made this in a year.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I wonder if the levels are, like, scrapped together from old version of previous game that was scrapped, but they had the graphics still or something.
It's dire. Infinite is the new villain, and he flies off during the climax and says, well, wait just a second, I can still fight, and then he vanishes for the rest of the game.
See, I didn't even notice that. That one's really bad.
Yeah,
that's really weird.
Because he's going to Sonic Mania level. He's going to Sonic Mania land.
I can still fight. Yeah. I'm the main villain they introduced for this. I'm just going to vanish.
Does he really not come back? I have to read this now.
Back. Maybe there's an implication that he like fuses with Eggman's robot, but it's not shown. Like that, you are reaching for that because the robot's being powered by the same stone, but there's no scene where he like. There's the missing cutscene there. That's like, and then Infinite fuses with the robot. He doesn't mention Infinite again. And then there's a line where Tails is like, "Oh, so this is where Infinite grew up. That's so sad." Never brought up again.
What?
It's like Chaos is introduced at the start of the game. Like, here's all the bosses you're gonna have to refight. Never fight them.
Oh my God.
There's one cool level where Infinite is like one cool level in the whole game where Infinite is like fucking with your gravity. Mm-hmm. So you're like jumping off of a building and then Infinite kind of warps in and then suddenly you're falling in a different direction and it feels cool. But again, it's 2 minutes long. And then and they don't develop it at all. It doesn't climax with anything. And then they go for like this big power of friendship ending and they have this tearful goodbye to Sonic Classic as Fate the Servant vanishes into the ether. Back to his home dimension.
He's going back to Sonic Mania, the better game.
Yeah.
Barely. Yeah.
Barely.
Okay.
Barely.
No, Sonic. It's substantially better. Sonic Mania feels feels like it's better.
Yeah.
I would say.
I mean, John said to me in DM, like, this is the worst Sonic game I've ever played, and I'm like, so Mania's better.
Oh, I said that on main. I was like, hey, of all the Sonic games I have played, I like this one least.
Hey, Polly, do you have Sonic 2006?
I am positive Sonic 2006 is better.
I think you would actually.
I think John's making a bet here.
You would have more fun playing Sonic 2006 than you would Sonic Forces. Even though that game is jank and bust, there is something that game is going for. It is trying.
It's trying to be Sonic Adventure 3.
Yeah, it's trying really hard. And
there's no possible goal that's more noble than trying to be Sonic Adventure 3.
But that game is literally not done. Whereas, like, this one is rushed and unfinished, but that one is just, it's broken in kind of a different way. That's more
it is broken in ways where, like, I can glitch past things very easily because these are very easy to fix bugs they just didn't fix because they weren't a lot of the time.
Sonic 2006 isn't broken, an unfinished game that has a vision.
It has a vision. That game has heart. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you can make fun of the whole a human girl kissing a hedgehog thing bullshit. Like, go ahead. Like, that's your dumb meme.
But
whatever.
It's something.
It's going for something.
Something.
There is something there that somebody, like, believed in.
There is nothing in Sonic Forces. It has no overarching vision or heart, like you said about Sonic 06.
Yeah.
Like, that's a sad thing to say about a game I know a bunch of people worked really hard on, but like, it was just a failure of something where whoever was in charge there was not bringing anything to it.
Yeah, like the elements that made something like Sonic Generations and even bits of Lost World delightful are they just seem completely gone.
And Sonic Colors, I really like Sonic Colors.
Sonic Colors is fantastic.
There's a big level near the end of Sonic Colors where you're running up a long pillar in like a space elevator, and it's really fucking cool. And
it's
then
ridiculous.
They do that in Sonic Forces, and it lasts 20 seconds.
Nice.
There's a bunch of things that are just everything. Everything in the game is we took something from Sonic Colors or Sonic Generations, and then we did it again, but shorter and worse. And we put it.
I think there was a vision for that game. It was Sega management told me to get something out in 11 months.
That's exactly what it feels like. It feels like a complete failure of like turning product of like making entertainment and not a product, I guess.
Yeah. It is a product.
But they made a not glitchy game in, possibly as low as a year. That's something.
Is it? I think this is you see, we talked about Simple Gear. I think this is just another kind of area where our values just slightly. At least
we didn't pay $60 for this thing. Obviously, I'd be furious if I had bought it new.
Yeah, this thing got heavily discounted like a week before it came out. This thing was like supposed to be $50 and discounted to $30 like a week before it came out. And that's when you started going, uh-oh, that might be a problem. That is when I started to nope out. Because I was gonna be on the day one for this game because I thought Generations.
We love Generations.
They nailed it with Generations. It was great, fantastic. Saw Forces.
Oh God, I remember.
Yeah, like I was going to pre-order this.
I remember this now. I was like, I think Mania is going to be the better game. When you were both Sonic Forces, they're making a Generations sequel. What could go wrong?
Literally fucking everything. And I think you ended up buying it for me. And I played
when it was like $7.50. I did not pay.
You didn't pay full price. It went on sale pretty quickly after it came out.
Yeah, I got it for less than $10. I'm certain
it was definitely less than 10. I
just remember that I'm not the one that bought it. I remember you buying it and sending it to me with a smart ass comment. And I was just like, okay.
And then I played it on your account.
You played it on my account. So
it didn't take long.
Nope.
Okay, I will concede one thing to John. The fact that they made functional video games is obviously not actually worth anything. Other than the people who made it were like, hey, we did something. We got a paycheck.
Yep, we got a paycheck.
But I did genuinely have a very fun time with this game by not taking it seriously and playing with the Japanese dub.
I can imagine that would elevate it.
It just became the funniest thing I've ever played.
Yeah, I can see that.
I really want to play Adventure with the Japanese title. It's dumb.
See, that's the thing is when I was 18 and Generations came out, or not Sonic Adventure 1. I played that game like
12. Come on.
I know. I played Adventure 1 like 3 times, and I definitely did like English dub, Japanese dub, English dub.
Wow.
Yeah, Adventure 1's real good.
Yeah.
Well,
It's going for something.
It's going for something.
It's going for something. I think it's fun. Oh boy, that game did not. Sonic Forces did not earn locking you from skipping the credits. you cannot skip the credits in Sonic Forces, and they're like 8 minutes.
Oh.
Weird.
So you get to listen to that great soundtrack, the Fist Bump song that they repeat during dramatic moments.
No, they keep doing
Avatar
it.
and Sonic.
Oh god.
I mean, that's just them doing like
Yeah.
the whole
The
Crush
Sonic
40 thing,
They do the Crush 40 thing, and nothing.
and don't earn it.
I feel nothing. And can you imagine them doing? They replay the title theme. They do this thing where, with the power of friendship, Sonic and the Avatar, you are yourself insert and Sonic come together to do the double boost. And then during the climactic moment of the final boss fight is that Sonic and Classic Sonic and the Avatar come together to triple boost and destroy as the theme song plays. And I'm just like, this does nothing for me. Nothing.
Does not spark joy.
See, I think it's just a thing where I embrace that sort of cheesiness to the max.
Yeah.
I embrace it too. I'm not. Because like I will put on the Sonic Colors final boss theme and feel emotional. Like, oh, he's gonna reach for the stars, even though they look pretty far. And that's not even like one of the ones that really works on the story, like Adventure and Adventure 2 do.
Yeah.
That's the thing, Zach, is that they don't fuck it up. They do it exactly the way you're supposed to. But because the game just has nothing happening,
You gotta earn that moment. You've got to make everything matter up until
Yeah.
that point, or the big catharsis moment. Like that's not gonna fucking work.
yeah, that's how you can't make that land without the rest of the game building up to it in some fashion. And I could almost see these cutscenes working, like these story working, if the game part had any substance. Because like if the game backed up the darkness of that story at all, but it's completely weightlessly easy.
Throwaway. It's just like a throwaway line in a text box, and Sonic was tortured for 6 months.
He doesn't act
He
any
doesn't.
different.
Yeah, he's still throwing out wisecracks. It's like, are you sure? I mean, even Solid Snake, he was pretty rough in that interrogation. Oh,
You feel it when Jack gets tortured.
Yeah,
Not Metal Gear Solid, but Jack 2.
Jack 2. Yeah,
The darkest video game.
The darkest video game.
Jack 2 is pretty dark.
Jack 2's pretty dark. It's pretty dark and edgy.
Yeah.
God, this would have been a great. Imagine if this was like as grim as Jack 2 and also as long and as hard.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Best shit in the world.
See, that's kind of the vibe I get from Sonic 2006 of it just being frustratingly difficult because of the glitches. And have we mentioned the load times in that game? John, that game someday you should get to it.
I will. Probably. I was eyeballing all my many, many bad Sonic games I've accrued. Because I impulse buy them when I'm sad. And I was just like, do these still spark joy? Or has all my love for Sonic been stripped from me?
Yeah, is this the only Sonic game you're going to be talking about this week?
I didn't finish Secret Rings. I'll finish Secret Rings and then get back to you. I'm positive it's better than Sonic Forces.
I mean, you seem to actually be kind of warming up to it, and then suddenly, you said, it gets better as you go.
I want to play Higurashi. Speaking of which, I played Higurashi.
Hey, Higurashi is good.
Okay.
I know that video
Go
game.
ahead and wrap that one off.
Are you gonna forbid us from talking about it, Rhett? Are we
Go
good?
ahead.
We can,
Go
okay,
ahead.
John. We can talk about it.
Oh, good. Thanks, Rat. Finally, I feel like maybe you're finally letting us out from under your thumb for once.
Yeah, a little bit, like letting us exert a little power in this podcast dynamic.
Finally, just in that relationship.
Yeah.
It's just kind of always.
Who knew Rhett was the power top?
Yeah, it's the Rhett show
Yep.
on the
The Rhett
podcast in the
Show.
bedroom.
So
So I finished the second chapter of Higurashi. I don't know if I'd finished the first chapter. Did I?
I'm not even sure if you'd started
I think you were close to finishing it.
I think so.
And you were like maybe one chapter left.
I finished it and it fucked me up.
Man, that first story really hits hard.
Yeah, it really hits hard. Because you just want him to believe in his friends.
Please, just make one right decision, man.
Just want Kay to believe in his friends, and that is his arc of just losing it.
Yeah.
And it's so sad.
It really is. Like, everybody's trying to help so much. Mm-hmm. But he just doesn't want to play with girls anymore. That's all. God, it hurts so much!
I didn't realize how troubling it would be to make a girl cry. Yeah. Harden your heart, Kay. Oh
God. Making me on cry that's so sad.
Oh.
Your poor heart just can't take it. So you're playing Watanagashi Hen now.
Yeah, I finished Onikakushi.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started playing Watanagashi.
Mm-hmm.
And I got about halfway through Watanagashi.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so this one feels a lot more like kind of straight mystery plotting.
Yeah.
This one feels it's got more of a plot going on. It's got more of the meaty mystery. Onikakushi is a lot more tonal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being in Kay's head as he just kind of dissolves into that paranoid mess, and then the consequences of that, and the devastating consequences of that. And it's an emotional journey.
Yeah.
And when I finished Onikakushi, I was like, I am completely in love with all these characters. I don't know if it's going to have if it's going to make me care about the mystery, basically.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how seriously they were taking it.
Yeah.
I did play the cast wrap up afterwards, and then that was sort of okay, so you are they kind of make a point of talking about the mystery, and I was like, okay, so you are thinking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because Higurashi, there's a lot of there's probably a supernatural element somewhere in this universe, and that kind of makes you wonder, okay, how is this going to be is this going to come together in an emotional way that's satisfying? Basically, is the plot going to come together in an emotional way that's satisfying? And I was playing through Watanagashi okay, so this feels more kind of straightforward novel versus that almost like Twine game
where you're living in a space when
you're living in a miserable headspace.
Yeah, like Honikakushi is living in and experiencing both Hinamizawa and Keiichi's headspace, whereas Watanagashi focuses a lot on Hinamizawa itself, its history, the mystery that is that is unfolding there. There's a lot more that's brought more to the forefront.
Yeah, and Kei isn't. I don't think this is spoilery to say he is not dissolving into a paranoid mess in Watanagashi.
No, he's a dunce. He's a dunce. He's a big old dunce.
But you don't have that horror of being of being forced into that headspace.
Yeah,
because it's a miserable place to be.
Oh yeah.
It's a visceral, fun journey. It's not like it's not just a slog. It's a very fun game.
Oh yeah.
In the horror sense, but Onikakushi is rough. And I was like, okay, I'm deep into the horror stuff now, because obviously there's a bunch of extremely funny club activity stuff.
Oh yeah.
Where you just get time to live with these characters in the light.
The maid scene is going to live in infamy for me forever, because so I was not expecting that scene to be as good as it was. Gets laid in.
That was one of my favorite stream moments of all time.
That was it was so many things happening at once, because it was funny, it was cute. It was actually really lighthearted and kind. It wasn't like all boy in a dress in a really sick and gross way. And it was kind of a little horny.
It was pretty horny, Polly. Like you said, Mion's voice
actress
sexing it up.
Just sexing it the fuck up. The way she was just like, this may be the most turned on I have ever been on a stream before.
Oh my god.
she's just
she
really...
whispers in his ear.
Yeah, the way the voice actress whispers the lines, the way she's presenting them is just so hyper sexed up. But it's just, she's just saying things like, she's just explaining the feeling of wearing a maid's uniform and how she's made him into his ideal woman. And she's just being so sexy with it. You have to watch that scene. His miserable manhood twitched, Rhett.
That's what I said, was I forgot that he was canonically into it.
He's canonically into it.
You would never get that in Tight Moon.
Yeah, no.
You would never have horny that funny.
No.
And that you would never have horny that enlightened in Tight Moon.
Yeah. It's really a healthy kind of horny, I think.
It was... I don't know. I know that it's good.
Yeah.
So the club activity stuff in Watanagashi is extremely good.
It's very fun.
And I was deep into the horror stuff, and I was like, this isn't as oppressive as Onikakushi, because I'm not in that headspace.
Right.
This is probably not going to punt, because I was like a week or 2 weeks off from finishing Onikakushi, and it was still sitting in my gut like a brick.
It does. Yeah.
It wasn't digesting. It was just there. And I told Rhett, I was like, I'm pretty sure this one's going to be my favorite one when I finish Onikakushi, because it's the most. I said it was kind of made me feel like Twine Games, where it's that tone, that psychology in the prose.
Yeah, the prose is very, very twiny.
And he's just doing VN speak.
Yep.
At to maximum possible effect.
Mm-hmm.
Like the I'm sorry. It hurts.
Yeah, like those repeating lines like that. Very, very like that is staple. That is peak
classic
visual, peak visual novel.
Peak visual novel. It's potent.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't think this is going to be my favorite question arc. I don't think any of the ones are going to make me feel this way.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah,
because now I get to focus on the story.
Each one is its own flavor. Because Watanagashi is bringing other things to the forefront, and like dealing with complicated feelings as a teenager, and like being more sensitive to somebody's feelings, and like that stuff. Like the last stream before, like last Thursday or so, like when that stuff started coming out, and like you starting to see like this character. Oh no, this character actually really hurt their feelings, and it really hurts. Like that stuff's really cool too. Like so it can like balance all of this new layer of stuff on top of the mystery and the horror elements that it incorporates. The fact that it's able to do that so fucking seamlessly is so good.
Yeah, there is a moral arc
to
Watanagashi, and that's really cool for it to feel that complete.
Yeah.
In addition to doing all this cool mystery stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't expect, so I expected it to be compelling me in different ways, which it did. The last chunk of this game absolutely tore my heart into pieces, cut it apart, and stomped it on the floor.
Oh man, I'm so not ready for these streams, am I?
I was just like, for the next day and a half, just like,
It's just like, man, it's like I'm being crucified. Ugh.
Oh boy. And there's just, even though you don't know the whole mystery, there is still a complete mystery to the whole Watanagashi arc.
Yeah.
That's very satisfying. And I didn't remember any of this from the anime, basically. Like this had just left my brain.
Yeah.
And it just hit so hard and I had no idea where the story. I didn't know what the rules were, basically. So I didn't know how it was going to play out, and when it all played out, it landed really hard, because it's basically the arc of Kei. You want Kei to do the right thing throughout all of Onikakushi.
Yeah.
And a different story would be like building up to the point in arc 8 when Kei does the right thing.
Yeah.
And then in this one, it's more like he's doing a lot of the right things, and then the question is,
progress.
Is that enough?
Yeah. Like, I like that, like, you feel a progress with these games. Like, there's definitely that progress in Keiichi's character from Onikakushi to Watanagashi I've already noticed. And I know that just from the anime and remembering what I know of that, I know that he is consistently a character that he has to grow, because it's primarily, the narrative does focus a lot on his perspective. It doesn't really start shifting until later. So you've kind of got to, like, for a lot of Higurashi to work, Keiichi as a character has to work, and I like that they work at making him get there, and it's not just like some Kirito thing where he's just good already. Keiichi is awesome. He has moments, and he like his amazing ability to throw away his pride entirely to achieve any and everything. Like, it's a great ability, and it's like it helps, like, really paint him as a character that is growing constantly, despite the weird narrative way that this story is structured.
I ended this one just completely loving Kei.
Yes. I'm so I think we're finishing it this week on the stream, so it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
It's oh boy, yeah. It's gonna land real hard. I think.
Be prepared. I'll get my mute button prepared.
Yeah. I'll say one other thing is that there were two. Is that the first game I mentioned this? I'm playing it with the classic art, classic novel style. There was one moment in the first game where I was like, where there's a moment where they changed the eyes.
Yes.
And for me, I was like, I have played many way more expensive VNs that do not land a visual moment as strong as this. Like, this is the VN, this is the language that is exclusive to the VN, and it is bringing so much to this story. Watanagashi has two different moments, different kinds of moments, both visual moments involving eyes that land just as powerfully in completely different ways.
Interesting.
And you're playing on the PS2 version, which, as I understand it, changes up one of them. I think the other one will be. I mean, I'm excited to see how it presents both of those visual moments.
Yeah. Like, because this has the CG.
I was thinking one of them is going to be a CG now.
Yeah.
One of them is a CG now. I had a friend who was talking to me about it. Like, he has a lot of opinions there with some of these changes. It was fun.
I'm experiencing it that way because I think that just as a stream, I think it's a little more visually exciting with the mod, honestly. So yes, we started with just normal VN, and I thought that, like, it's just not popping enough visually, and I think
it makes sense for this, and adding the voices.
Yeah, and the voices, like, it's been way an easier experience this time around.
Yeah. Miserable manhood experience.
My miserable manhood experience. Oh my god, boy got horned up in that maiden costume. It's Keiichi. Enjoy it, dude. There ain't no shame here.
So I told you that Onikakushi's maybe. You said you thought Onikakushi was perfect.
I think it is. Yeah.
I don't know if that's as true of Watanagashi. It feels bigger. It feels like it's going. I think it lands a bigger catharsis.
Right.
Than Onikakushi does. Yeah. And I really came away from it feeling very good.
Fantastic.
And there is no way, absolutely no way, that the next arc is going to make me feel as strongly as this one. It's done. The next one's going to be fine. I'm going to be like, I'm going to finish arc 3 and just be like, meh. I've felt this. It's fine.
It's okay.
I'm not gonna have.
I remember some stuff from that one, and you're gonna eat these fucking words.
See, that's sort of why I've been setting us up the whole time. I've been setting us up. Right. I know what's coming, and I know that it's still gonna fucking hit me, and I'm gonna hate it, and I'm gonna have to make sure I press that mute button real fast.
And then the arc 4 is shorter, and I think it's also going to rip my heart out.
Oh man!
But then the answer arcs, there's nothing that happens there.
No,
that's we're done there.
Answer arcs are going to be
the
easy
more I've been
breezy.
thinking about Higurashi and like thinking of stuff that happens, like specifically the answer arcs that isn't a huge main plot point, but like just some of the smaller things, I'm just like, oh man, are you in for it, you two?
There's
some scenes I am just dreading even thinking about you having to read through.
There's like a few of them have come to mind, and I'm just like, oh no. But it's good because I've got a crowd that comes to enjoy the misery with me. A lot of people are surprisingly turning out for the streams, which really I didn't expect it. But yeah, people are into it. There's like first timers. There's people that know the series, so it's kind of, you've got it coming from both sides. So it's really fun.
Yep. God, those streams are fun. I tried watching the back half of Onikakushi on the YouTube archive, and I was like, this is too emotional to experience without friends.
Yeah, you need friends.
I might still try to poke through and just kind of get the big scene bits. But God, it's hard. June says they are the highlight of my day.
Well, we'll be continuing. We're going all next week, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zach says I need to stop watching the streams as much so I can play the game semi-blind. Polly started it, and I watched a little bit of the Onikakushi one, and I was like, I dropped the streams because I wanted to play it.
Yeah.
I want to play this desperately, and I want to watch these streams. So I just raced through the first arc and raced through the second arc.
Blissed Watanagashi.
Mm-hmm.
And me having a surgery helped you do that, obviously, because I was off for a week after that.
Yeah, so now I've got a bit of a buffer.
Yeah.
I think You and Me and Her, a love story, is only like 8 hours long, so I just want to kind of finish that just so that I have it off my plate a little bit. And I think it's going to be a good time because that was the one that was recommended to me along a similar axis to like, well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
But there are moments in Watanagashi where I was just like, this is my favorite VN.
Oh wow.
But that pull back a little bit. That's in the moment.
Yeah.
But this is really special. I'm really excited for more Cool K.
Yeah.
Also.
Yes.
He's so fucking cool.
Yes. He's the biggest fucking dork in the room, but
I love him.
But you have to love him.
I love him to death.
He's so good.
All right, that's Higurashi.
Cool.
Forever. We'll never talk about it again.
Rhett won't let us. Yeah, Rhett won't let us.
Next episode, John just comes in sobbing after finishing.
Tatari Goroshi.
Mikashi's next. Right, yeah.
Tatari Goroshi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, who's next? Rhett, I think.
Yeah,
or was it Polly?
next. I don't have anything else. So.
Okay, yeah, I'm done.
Polly's
too.
done. Polly only had the one, and obviously more Higurashi. I watched an anime.
Did you?
Tell us about it.
So I revisited a show I watched a few years ago that I was always kind of iffy on.
Mm-hmm.
I rewatched Yuki Yuna is a Hero.
I know the name.
So this is a magical girl show. It is a show that when it came out, I had a very cynical take on it. I thought, the producers of this, they saw how popular Madoka was, and they said, let's do that, but change it just enough so we don't get sued and so that we can franchise it a bit more. Because Madoka, it kind of ended.
Yeah.
So Yuki Yuna is a Hero is... And also, the other thing is that a lot of the people I follow now that are super into Symphogear really like this show.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
So a lot of it was like, okay, I'll give it another shot.
Right.
And the main girl, Yuki Yuna, she do punch.
And
she screaming punch.
What?
She punched very good.
That's good.
But there's not actually that much action in the show, so it escalates to like Symphogear levels like in episode 4, and it's like, okay, this is a little unearned, you guys.
Oh.
But anyways. So the thing about this show is that it even like trying to be more charitable towards it and like just take it for what it is and not like be like, oh, it's Madoka ripoff.
Right.
I still kind of fell back into, it's very similar to Madoka, huh?
Magical girls are fucked up thing. Is that what we're going for?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, I think it cares more about its characters than Madoka does, because Madoka does always kind of have that element of like they're being punished for wishing for things.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas in this, like, there's a lot more slice of life and like downtime moments in this. like to kind of build the characters up before it breaks them.
Mm-hmm.
The other
I like
thing
that.
I said to John, like, oh, it's weird revisiting something, only kind of hazily remembering the details and knowing things are going to go bad. You guys probably don't know what that's like. In reference to Higurashi.
Right.
Yeah, we got that.
Because,
Definitely got that.
look, there's one episode of this early on where they just spend, the whole thing is a slice of life episode about a character's personality trait. And I'm just like, why are they spending so long time? Oh, no.
Because they're going to kill them next episode.
It's not even that they die next episode. It's like it's a really delayed thing, but it's pretty fucked up. So I was able to appreciate and understand that the show isn't just Madoka, because it does have like the fighting is way more simple gearish and like big kind of flashy fists and punches and stuff, whereas Madoka battles are just really, really like so over stylized. Like they're much more.
They're artsy. They're very artsy.
Yeah. And Madoka also, like, the shoe drops in episode 3. This one waits way longer, even though it's still only like a 12 episode show, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like, when you end up comparing them thematically, that's when it's like, oh, they're very similar, huh?
Aww.
Because they're both shows basically about girls who kind of get tricked into participating in a system that exploits them. And like specifically the way in which both shows, like, the girls lose ownership of their own bodies is extremely similar in both shows.
Right.
And it's just like, okay, like there's definitely something here to them being on the same page there.
Yeah.
But then the show, like, instead of having, it has a very big action climax that I liked, because, like, you know, they fight against the system and stuff happens. And then an interesting thing though is like the ending of the show is extremely vague on what actually happens.
Well, you gotta be vague in a show like this. If you're gonna franchise it, you can't make any long-lasting decisions. My Hime taught us that.
So like,
Daddy, you have such a bone to pick with that ending.
Well, actually,
just decades in the making of
it's
bone picking with this ending.
Fucking worst ending I've ever seen.
Okay, so Polly, you shouldn't watch this show because I think magical girl stuff really isn't compatible with being a tragedy, because they always
if you're not brave enough.
They always want to have that moment where the power of love wins anyways.
I get that.
So, like, this show really fucks these characters up and then immediately pulls its punch back like My Hime does. So it's like, you have shows like Madoka where, you know, they pull the ass pull moment out at the very end and it feels justified and, like, kind of doesn't ruin the show. And then you have shows like My Hime where they have the ass pull moment in the last episode and it totally ruins the show. And I think this one's a little bit in between those. And there's one moment that is, like, extremely similar to My Hime.
Oh, no. No!
Both shows have a character take an eye patch off.
Oh, God. Fucking.
So, yeah.
That's like, oh my God, I can literally see Nao's eye patch falling off when I close my eyes, and it just sends a brick through my soul.
You made 2 gifs of that for, like, your review of that show.
I did.
That single shot made you so mad.
Oh my God.
But basically, the show is... So, it's hard to talk without just directly spoiling stuff. Monica is very clear what happens at the end.
Yeah.
This one feels like the same thing happens, but it's not clear. It's just kind of like, hey, remember the title of the show? Yuki Yuna is a hero. And, you know, Yuki Yuna is the main character.
Right. She's the 101st.
Did she? Basically, there's the implication of that a sacrifice has been made.
Yeah.
So, but, like, I had not remembered this ending being extremely vague. So I Googled, like, Yuki Yuna is a hero ending, and I find this Reddit post from, like, 6 or 7 years ago when this aired, and I'm just like, oh, my interpretation of the ending, and I guess pretty much everybody's, it seems, was just this one extremely well thought out Reddit post. that just ties everything together and like seems to make perfect sense. It's like that's how I thought the ending went. So we'll get back to that later. The reason I really wanted to revisit the show is because I found out they eventually made a second season.
Right.
Oh shit. Okay.
Because I thought it was because basically I watched the show and it was like, oh, they're going to franchise this, and they did, but they did a bunch of like light novels and manga and all sorts of side stuff, but they never continued the anime. And from what I gather, the like, you know how like media franchises like this will have kind of like their Bible of like, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do.
Yeah.
As far as I know, the rule for this series was that you don't touch the end of the anime because it's meant to be a certain way. You must not undo Yuki Yuna's sacrifice. So the anime, the second season, it's two things. The first 6 episodes are a prequel based on some other characters, and then the second 6 episodes are a direct continuation of the anime. Right. So they broke the one rule. So the first half is, I forget the name, like the Washio story or something. It's very good, though. I actually really like this one, and enough of it is like, so they say exactly what's going to happen in these episodes in the original series, like, because you know who these characters were and what happened to them.
Yeah. So,
but just like, and it's that kind of Higurashi thing again of like, well, I know where this ends up.
Yeah.
And you're spending like over half the series just being a cute magical girl show.
I know what you're doing. You're not gonna fool me.
They don't try to fool you, but boy, when that shoe drops, it's rough. This is like the hardest I've cried at a show in a long time. There is an extended funeral scene that is just gut-wrenching.
Oh no!
I've kind of never seen anything like it.
We're bringing the cheery ones to this one.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I don't think I've ever seen a funeral scene in an anime where it's like specifically open casket.
No, it never is.
Yeah, and it's also weird because in my back of my head I go, oh, they must have really spent a long time preparing her body after what happened, because you see it in the previous episode.
Oh God!
So that's fucking dark as hell. And then it kind of rushes through the ending because all of it has been explained in the previous series of what's going to happen, and then it happens, and it's very rough.
Ugh.
So it is the one. So it gets to go full tragedy, and it's a lot to deal with.
Right.
Interesting. So it does get to resolve all that. It does get to kind of resolve.
I mean, it leads directly into where season 1 starts.
Yeah, where season 1 starts.
Okay, gotcha.
But when season 1 started, like if you're just starting from there, you don't know all the shit that has just went down.
The shit that just happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the second half of season 2, which is a 6-episode direct continuation.
Okay.
So it's weird because, again, I watched this show originally, I think 2013, the first season, and had a very clear thought of what happened at the end based on this Reddit post. And they just throw that all out.
Oh.
And that's a little weird.
Oh, okay.
Whatever you thought happened at the end of season 1 isn't actually what happened, and that's just weird having to have that rug pulled out from under you.
Weird.
And then you don't actually find out the official explanation until episode 4. So it's a while so for you to be just like, I still don't know what happened at the end of season 1. And then even when they explain their new reason, I'm just like,
Little flimsy,
yeah.
It sounds like an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So this continuation series, it really goes in a weird direction. There's like almost no action until the last episode.
Interesting.
I'm not sure if I liked it that much. It's hard to talk about because I almost kind of.
It's hard to not spoil it.
Don't want to spoil it.
Not even just spoilers, but just like it just did not go in the direction I ever would have expected it to. And then inexplicably, the last episode is the big action one, and it just goes like real big. So I liked it for that. I'm very simple.
You are easy to please.
I am so easy. It's like, this second half of this series, Yuki Yuna probably maybe throws as little as one punch. but she put her fucking back into it. It's like, if you're gonna throw one punch, you better make it like as big as Gurren Lagann.
Make it count.
It is just like big, drawn out, like black and white, sketchy style, like Gurren Lagann climax.
Yeah.
Throw that punch in slow motion. Like, it's really funny. But like, story wise, season 2 is just, it's strange. Just the way it all ended up going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a series, I guess.
That's definitely
I'm
weird.
I'm glad I revisited it because I came off on season 1 a little higher, but then and then I really liked the prequel stuff, but then the sequel ended up kind of being a weird mixed bag of letdown.
It's kind of like how that weird Danganronpa 3 anime happened, where they had like Despair and Future, but like Future was garbage and not worth watching, except for like one episode, and then the Despair arc is fucking incredible.
This is definitely kind of like that, only that in that they didn't do the insane thing of airing them
like
vice
alternating,
versa. Because in this, at least, when the prequel finishes, there was one episode that was just a recap.
Yeah.
That you can totally skip if you need to, but like that recap obviously bridges the time period between the prequel and the sequel.
Yeah.
So like, it would be so weird if they had just done the alternating.
Yeah, like that's
there would be no reason to do that, and I don't know why Danganronpa did that.
Yeah, like I don't know why Danganronpa did that at all, because it didn't add anything. It didn't add anything narratively to the structure, and I know, and I can speak on this because I literally just like I hang out on a Discord and they were streaming that, and I'd pop in. I would pop in every now and again and watch a bit of it and be like, "Yep, this is still bad. Don't know why we're doing it. I don't know why y'all are watching this in alternating order. You should just watch one arc and then watch the other."
I never watched the Future one.
Yeah, like Despair is good.
I think I looked at the last episode and got mad at what I was seeing. So I
was very angry at the last episode of Future. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
So I finished this and then immediately started another Magical Girl show, but I'm not finished that yet.
Not finished that one yet?
Yeah, but that's just my thing now, I guess.
Just watch Magical Girl shows where they punch. You get punches.
Well, the weird thing is, the one I'm watching now, there's no fighting. There's conflict, but they don't ever actually like attack each other. It's interesting.
It's diplomacy. It's Magical Girls.
It's like, oh, is this one actually for little girls? It's weird.
Weird.
Time to get really into Precure.
There you go. There you go.
Just deep dive.
It was only a matter of time, really. It was only all of this Symphogear shit was just practice for Precure.
There's so much. You could start Precure and just never run out.
Yeah.
Basically, right?
It's so fucking much.
There was one time I was almost interested enough to start that because one of the series has like the same art director as Casher and Sins.
Oh.
So one episode came out that just looks a lot like Casher and Sins, and I was like, maybe, and then I never got around to it.
Interesting.
Because it still doesn't sound like it's a good show. It's still sounds boring.
It's still fucking Precure.
Yeah.
It sounds like
Casher and Sins is kind of the bomb, though.
It sounds kind of like the Sentai stuff, where there are these just a million series of 60 episodes, and even if they land like some of the big beats, you're gonna have a lot of filler stuff, and that's just really hard for me to deal with.
Yeah.
Like, I watched 3 seasons of Sailor Moon, and that was like my extent for my life.
Yeah.
I think that's what I like about Symphogear is that it's 5 seasons. So it's 60 episodes, but it's 5 seasons. So you just are guaranteed a big climax every 13 episodes.
Yep. You're not going to just be lost in
it's the anti-filler.
It's the anti...
Yeah,
to a negative extent, potentially.
Yeah. It is. Boy, I wish these seasons were a little longer so they can flush some of the stuff out.
That's where
we're shoving everything we can in 13 episodes, come hell or high water.
Yeah.
The Sonic Forces to Sailor Moon's Wonderful 101.
I specifically was like, I'm not going to say Symphogear while he's talking about Sonic Forces. I don't want that line being drawn anywhere.
No.
No, Symphogear definitely tries way harder than Sonic Forces.
Yeah.
It has way more going on there.
Like Symphogear has gravitas. Simple Gear has gravitas and faith in its vision.
I did not draw that line with Wonderful 101, which I meant to, which is just like, hey, this sounds like maybe too much of the...
Right.
Builds and builds and builds and does climax, but there's a lot of that to begin
climax. With. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
So I guess that's it.
That's it?
Cool.
Are we all done? Are we all done?
Yeah. Everyone read Earthsea. I really like it. Those books are fantastic. They're like my favorite fantasy novels.
Okay. I'll get right on that. I'm going to do that this week.
Right. Red will do it, I bet.
Red will do it too. Red said he was totally on board. He loves reading.
He loves reading.
Well, I guess that's going to do it for your friends here at the Sockscast for another fine episode. Of course, we want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the subs. Y'all are, of course, far too generous. But it is always appreciated. And remember, things are going on this week at the site. We got Game of the Decade.
We have to do that right now, Paulie.
Yep. Game of the Decade is getting ready to go up. It's going to be up starting at noon on the 22nd. It's going to be a week of just video games that you've probably never heard of, but should probably come to appreciate because guess what? Somebody loved it enough to put it on their list.
Yeah.
So this is going to be really like nice. This is an entire week to celebrate video games, and it's going to feel real good. I think that's a lot of positive energy that this thing has brought to the site, and I think a lot of people need a lot of positive energy right now. So thank you again, Tengu, for the perfectly timed 100 bits. But yeah, and again, we will be here next Sunday to unveil the top 99. Watch the site for a time on that. We don't have a start time yet, but yeah, it'll definitely be next Sunday, and it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and I think that you all are gonna enjoy it as well. So I guess if that is it, we're gonna go ahead and get on out of here. So thanks again, everybody, for listening and all that fun stuff. And remember, we are the podcast loves you. We're the only ones that love you, and that's a show. Fantastic.
Hell yeah.
Let me get y'all a host. Let me throw y'all on over to somebody. Spread that love around. Keep that stream watching going. Who be streaming? I don't see anybody streaming. I was like, wait a minute, Revan. No, Revan hosted me. Let's see. Let's see what. Phenomenon, he is doing a Final Fantasy Tactics challenge. He's just doing normal characters that you have to recruit yourself, no NPCs, nobody, and all that fun stuff. So, he's really challenging himself to not rely on busted shit like Beowulf and shit. So, I'm going to send y'all on over there. So, thanks for coming out, and we will catch you here next Sunday for Game of the Decade. And I will catch you tomorrow night for more Higurashi.
Hell yeah.
We will be starting at about 8 o'clock. So that'll be a good time.
Fun times ahead.
Fun times. Absolutely. Y'all take it easy.
Hey, Polly.
Yo.
Can you send me the credentials for doing FileZilla to get onto the SNPS?
God damn it, John.
Kind of